Well, what's going on, guys? So today I'm speaking with an old DL friend of mine named Henif. He's better known as Republic to the DL community. And in today's podcast, we'll be diving into Henif's personal Deadlock story. Henif was the montage king for the DL community back in the day. He was ahead of the times when it came to editing montages. From 2008 to 2011, he easily made the most memorable montages on the original server. Henif was also one of the top players on the original server, and he was even able to achieve a legit 8 in deathmatch rank for cycling, which was unheard of at that time. Henif and I interacted sometime in the summer of 2008 for the first time, I believe. So we go back about 16 years, which is kind of crazy to say out loud. We're all really old over here. We
Oh
also
wow.
met up in Toronto for a day over 5 years ago, so we've touched base from time to time. But with that, Henny, how's it going, man?
Hey, going well. Happy to be here.
Yeah, good to talk to you. It's I guess we do touch base occasionally, but it's not that much.
Yeah, honestly, you saying that we met like 5 years ago, over 5 years ago.
Yeah,
I think that was before I had any. Was that when? I can't remember if my daughter was born yet at
I,
that time.
no, I
It,
think
it
your
was it
wife
was
is still
around
pregnant.
then.
Yeah,
Okay, so it was just before. It's just before my first kid was born. So yeah, that was fun, man. I like taking you around the city. That was cool.
oh yeah, that
That was
was
a
a
good
great
time.
experience, and the fact that I came at the perfect time for the Raptors winning that big game.
Oh, you did. You
Yeah.
did. Oh man, that was a good year. I feel like it's been downhill since.
I 100% agree. It's been, well, yeah, not that great recently, I will say, at least from my
Yeah, for sure.
perspective.
Yeah. No, but
Um,
it's that was a really good year. So
it
I'm glad you
was,
experienced that. Yeah.
it was, yeah, and I appreciate the tour. Yeah, Toronto's a really nice place.
Yeah, it
Um,
is.
all right, so we're just going to get right to it. This is mainly a podcast focused on your story, but I'll be chiming in with a few bits of my perspective as well. But the first question I have for you is, when did you get DL and when did you start playing online?
I gotta like do some math. I think I started playing when I was in what do you guys, you Americans call it what, like junior, when I was a sophomore in high
Sophomore in
school,
high school?
like grade 10. Yeah, I think around there, if I remember right. Which would have been 2007, 8, around there. I
Yeah,
think it would have been
2007,
the
I
year.
think is. I remember you saying a long time ago that's when you started, but we kind of met like a year later, I think.
Oh, okay. Good memory, man. Yeah, so I think around then. It was just I really liked the. I remember I think the first Ratchet game I played was the Up Your Arsenal game, which I also actually played online a little bit as well.
I didn't
And
know that.
yeah, I mean I wasn't really good. I was I just I played a little bit. It was a fun experience. It was actually I think my first online game was Up Your Arsenal, and
Okay.
it was a good time. Like it had all the same stuff, cycling and sniping and whatever, and it was a good time. And so when Deadlock came out, I was pretty hyped about that. So picked it up, played the campaign, and then started playing online.
Yeah, and it's funny. It's like you play the campaign and you might be thinking you're hot shit and everything, but you get online, it's a totally different story.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, it's so true. You do like, yeah, I did well. I beat the boss, and then you go online, and there's people that are obviously way better than you.
Right, right.
Kind of
Well,
humbling experience.
it is. Do you remember what your first deal game was?
Oh man, no, I don't. I don't think I remember thinking that I really loved the rocket.
Hmm.
Like the rocket was a good weapon. It felt easy to use. Um, no, I don't really remember.
Gotcha.
It's probably Conquest or something. I bet.
Yeah, yeah, I know mine. I got tricked in my very first lobby. I remember I joined in May of 2007, and I got online. I was, ready to play a game, and it was a Serathos game. Had all vehicles and all weapons on, and remember that old trick where like you'd have like a lobby up, and then someone would just switch to a different team color and start the game. Well, it
Oh
was a free for
yeah,
all,
wow, yeah.
and yeah, a guy went on another dude's team, and it ended up being a 2 versus 1 versus 1, and I was disadvantaged there. So
Wild. Yeah, I just that's crazy. That brought back some memories.
yes, um, well,
It's wild that you remember that, by the way. That's very impressive.
yeah, man. I mean, like all the videos I've had over the years, I've whenever I go back and watch them, it kind of brings those memories back. And then like I've done a few podcasts with a few people I know. I see Agent Moose in here. We've done 2 different podcasts, and we have all this information stored on the internet. So sometimes I'll just review it. I'm like, oh yeah, that's how my experience went.
Wow, that's
Well,
cool.
what were your past usernames besides Republic?
I don't remember all of them. I remember Guardian was one of my first ones.
Hmm.
I think it wasn't my first. I'm pretty sure I took the name that I so the name that I used on Up Your Arsenal was Talon, like a bird's talon.
Ah,
Um, yeah, and so I think I used that first when I was playing Deadlocked for the first time, and I don't know, I decided I didn't like it. And pretty soon after that, I used Guardian. I think I spelled it kind of weird.
uppercase or
Like,
just
yeah, I remember like you when you just pick up what everybody else is doing, right?
right, right. Yeah,
So
all the random
at that
lowercase and
time,
uppercase letters of our names. I remember.
yeah, yeah, it's like you see other people doing that, you're like, I guess that's cool, so you do it too. So I spelled Guardian kind of like that for some reason.
Wasn't it like? Didn't it
And
also
I
like have XXX Soul or something at the end of it? Is that right?
That I think is my YouTube channel.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, so I think it was just Guardian. And then I had SOL as my clan tag. I think that was I think that's how it was.
Okay.
And I used that for a while, and then there was a whole culture of like having a bunch of names on that game.
Oh
And I
yes.
remember seeing other people with like dashes. Like I definitely wasn't the first one to do that. Where somebody would have a dash and then they would have a cool word and then they would have another dash at the end.
Guilty right here with that.
Um, it's just I don't know. It was like what everybody's doing, and so I picked Republic. I think from Star Wars probably that was probably where I I thought that was a cool um that was a cool word. Like I honestly didn't think too hard about it. It was just it's a cool word.
Right.
So
That's how I
I
chose
used
my
that.
usernames too. And yeah, I always wondered where you picked that up from, but that makes sense. Star Wars, because that was a big thing for
Yeah.
that.
Remember, the Americans are like, "Oh, you're a Republican." I'm like, "What is a Republican?" I'm a Canadian for people that don't know. And I had to like figure out what that was. I wasn't very aware politically at like 16 or whatever. So, especially of another country's politics.
Right, right.
So I remember, that word Republic was like, people would comment on it a lot in the beginning. And then I had a bunch of other, accounts that I would go play on if I wasn't feeling like I wanted to, um, if I wanted to be a little more low key, I guess,
Yep.
So
Yeah.
I had Reflex Sniper, was one I liked a lot.
Oh yeah.
I had I think it was the Anarchist, was it?
Yes. Yes. You're
The
right.
Anarchist was one I liked a lot. Um, I'm seeing there's chat stuff. How do I? Oh, there's a button here.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah. Oh yeah. Okay, cool. Hey, Agent Moose. Um, yeah. So I really liked the Anarchist. That was a fun one. I had I got into like when you I forgot what that thing is called when you have like a phrase where they all start with the same letter. But I got into that. So I liked Skilled Sage was another one that
Yes.
I had a good time with.
Yeah, it's so
I
sad.
had a bunch of
Someone like
others
took
too.
your name. I remember on PS3, and they like
Oh
ruined
yeah.
your reputation. But no, people
Oh
didn't.
no.
People knew it wasn't you. But at first, they were like, "What is up with Republic?" I remember.
Oh gosh. That's funny. Yeah, that happened more than once. Like people, I'd come up with these things, and people would, they would do the capital I thing to replace L.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, it's happened before. I'm trying to remember. I had a bunch, man. There were so many.
I got some noted down that I'll probably take you back because I
Okay, yeah, go
reviewed
for
your
it.
videos. So Pride and Glory. Uh,
Yeah, that was a good one. Oh
yes,
man.
I maybe made a few videos with that. And then Rusty
Yeah.
Nails that came towards the end, I think, of DL.
That's so stupid.
A BattleBot, Terrible 2, Resurrection, Rocked,
Resurrection. Rocked. Oh
Artform,
yeah.
Spring
Wow.
Air,
What
Varight,
was that one?
Spring
Was it
Air.
Spring Air? Oh, okay. You're reminding me of why. Okay.
Yeah, and then the last one
So
I have noted was Rogue Reality.
Rogue Reality. Oh, I like that one. That was a good one.
Yeah,
So with a lot of those, I actually named them after the name of the montage. So I would
yeah.
like go. I would make an account that's like the name of the whatever upcoming montage I'm gonna have, and then
Hmm.
I would go play with that. That's kind of funny. I don't know why I did that. Um,
I think I tried doing that
that's
myself one
interesting.
time. It never really worked out, but I was like, huh. I don't know. I had an appeal to do that too.
Okay, yeah, it's kind of. I don't know. I don't know why. It just I can't. I don't remember, but that I remember why I did that. Like it was because it was for the montage.
Yeah, that
And
makes
then a couple of
sense.
those were actually they were there was this trend like where people would kind of make like two accounts and they would have the same name except like one would be with an I and one would be with a capital sorry, one would be with an L and one would be a capital I.
Yes.
So Pride and Glory was one of those where it was like me and somebody else. I can't for the life of me remember who it was. Um
Was it
who the other
Reflex?
person was. I don't know. I don't remember.
Okay.
This is embarrassing. There's gonna be a lot of moments like that where I don't remember something.
Yeah, I remember. I think
Unfortunately,
actually it
but
was Terrible Two. You and Reflex did. 'Cause I think I watched the
maybe
video, and I think it was you too. Yeah.
it might be. Yeah, there were a few people. Like I remember, I think Rocked was with.
Got Milk and the Pack.
Was it? I don't remember. Maybe.
I think so. 'Cause I think he used
Maybe.
that during that montage revival. I remember that right.
Okay. Yeah.
Um,
Um.
but yeah, is
Good
there
times, man. Wow.
any other usernames you can think of? Was that about wrap that up?
I probably had some other stuff. I don't remember them right now. It
Yeah.
was fun. Like I would have a lot of time. I would have a good time like coming up with like cool names, and then I'd be like, oh, that I get to kind of be this name. It was like
Right.
a it's like I don't know, like how like in real life people wear shirts and they try to express themselves through clothing and things like that. Like I
Hmm.
think if I were to analogize, like it's pretty similar to that, where you sort of your name and your clan tag and your skin in some way, this kind of like represents you as a person. And so if you wear some cool clothes or you have a cool name or whatever, like that's kind of you, and you feel good because of it. So
Yeah, I've really never even thought
I
of
had
it
I
that
had a
way.
good time with that.
Yeah, that makes sense
It's like
though.
fashion in a sense, right? It's sort of like
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
like fashion.
No, I totally agree. That makes total sense. But yeah, moving on to the next question for you. So, who taught you how to cycle and snipe?
Um, so I used to play with. I remember the first like people that I played with that really knew how to do that were there was this guy he went by the name Meta Ratchet,
Oh yeah, yep.
and then he had like a couple friends
Omega 3.
Omega 3, and I forget there was a third guy. Um
Baby Dragon, is that what that was?
oh yeah. Oh my god. Yeah, that's right. Yes. Yeah, I remember him. Wow, this is amazing. Bringing everything back. So I don't remember. I think like in retrospect, like, if I were to kind of think about what happened there, I think Matarashi used to like do noob stomping. Like he was one of those people that would play against like people way worse than him and just destroy them.
Oh my gosh.
Um, and I was the noob that got into his lobby, I guess. And like I don't know if you guys remember this experience, but I do, which is when you first play as a noob against somebody who really knows how to use a sniper, you feel like they're cheating. You know, you're like, how are you doing this, right? Like
Yep.
they're like sniping you out of the air, and
To
it looks like they're
interject
locking on
really
you.
quickly, there's like a lot of actually like new people who have played on the revival server who still make that accusation to this day, like you're using hacks, etc.
Yeah, well, back then there weren't hacks, unlike
Right,
now, I guess it's more plausible, right?
right.
Um, but yeah, it's true. I mean, people accuse me of that like later, but I remember that feeling, and I think I just remember thinking like, "Oh, that's really cool," and I don't think I really was taught by anybody explicitly. I'm pretty sure if I remember right, I just kind of I remember I would basically do drills, like in sports, right? Like you if you're playing basketball, for example, like there's a drill where you just shoot the ball a bunch of times, right, from different places on the court.
Hmm.
And I basically did that for sniping, where I would be in like a local game by myself, and I'd have only the sniper equipped, and I'd basically try to um, hit stuff, like hip firing, right?
Hmm.
And I think if I remember right, like I think Meta Ratchet or maybe somebody in that lobby in one of those lobbies might have said a few things that were helpful. Like I remember, um, like they introduced you to the idea, like, oh, if you don't move, then it goes straight, right?
Right.
That was like, I'm like, oh, okay. And then somebody said, oh, you have to be in lock strafe mode, right?
Hmm.
And then somebody told me about going on widescreen, right? Like you go on widescreen.
Yeah.
So there's like a couple of these little tips and tricks that somebody I can't remember if it was Meta Ratchet or somebody else, but somebody told me that, and then I kind of just took that and went with it.
Yeah, I
Oh, and
remember you used
dotting slash taping. I
yes.
absolutely started off doing that right in the beginning, and it's very helpful to have a little, I
Yeah,
mean,
I remember you get slack
you can do
for
it
it
without it too.
for doing that. I remember I did it too at one point, and it helped me enough to where I could do it without using the dot. But yeah, I remember with like the swing shots and like little targets throughout the levels. I remember in your tutorials you recommended to just practice with that because I know you had like a how to snipe tutorial that a lot of people I know
Yeah,
really
yeah,
liked.
yeah.
So
Oh, good. Yeah, I remember I made that. I made that much, 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 much later.
yeah.
I guess after I had figured out stuff, and then I got to credit Dan Got Milk as well, because later on, like he kind of I guess came back to the game, and he taught me what he calls or we called at the time the mirror strafe.
Hmm.
And he kind of clued me into trying to move in a way that's unpredictable.
Yeah.
That was a lot. That was much much later. Like he didn't teach me how to snipe. I was pretty good at that point, but he taught me some new stuff
Yeah,
as
I
well.
remember you mentioning that. I think it was in like early 2010 when he was kind of him and like the pack and skeptical and all of them were on for a little bit. I remember
Yeah,
you told me about that strafe and yeah, it's pretty effective because like you said, it's like one of the key things to performing well, at least in DL and almost any game is being unpredictable and strafing is was key. But yeah, that's
yeah,
awesome. So
yeah.
that's pretty much you pretty much taught yourself, but then you had just little tips and tricks from people who were pretty good back in the day.
If I remember right, yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Okay, awesome. So we're gonna move on to the next cool question here. So when you got deadlocked and you started playing some, what were your main goals?
Um, good question. In the beginning, it's just to have fun, I guess, right? Like you're just sort of like a teenager, trying to play a game.
Hmm.
But so I'm sure all you guys can relate, maybe. But I'm a pretty competitive person, just in general.
Hmm.
Like whenever I'm playing anything or doing anything, like so whether it's now in what I do for work or any kind of game or whatever. Like I like winning. I hate losing, right? So
Yep.
and I like doing well. So once I figured out, oh, there's like a ranking system, and oh, there's people that are considered good, and there's people that are considered noobs, and and there's this cycling thing, and there's this sniping thing. Um, I was like, well, I got to be really good at this, you know.
Hmm.
And yeah, I think that was kind of my goal, like from the pretty early on, was to be good at the game.
Well, I think you achieved that, and probably, arguably, probably at times with the best player, at least at certain periods. I feel like probably what 2009, 2010, you kind of stood out the most.
Maybe, I mean, at the time I felt like it. Now looking back, I mean, there were a lot of really good players. I would say I was among the better players.
Hmm.
If you talk to me at that time, yeah, I for sure would have said no, I'm the best. But I don't know. You know, uh, there was an argument. There's an argument
Oh yeah,
for
there was
sure.
always an argument with that. I know, multiple people thought they were the best and had their opinions,
Yeah,
but yeah, you were definitely, in my opinion, and I'm sure everyone who played, like one of the best players in that time for sure.
yeah,
Um,
it was a good time.
it was. So moving on, who were your first friends in the game?
Yeah, that's a good question. Early on, I played with. I don't remember what his original name was, but at some point he had the name Currency. It was like
Oh,
Curran,
army
but with
guns, army guns.
army guns. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
that's he. So he was one of the first people. I think he was kind of in those Meta Ratchet Omega 3 lobbies,
Hmm.
uh, and I think he was about as good as I was. At that time. And we kind of came up together. I don't know, we just played, we played some games together. Obviously later on, I started playing with people like I don't know what they're like Kwabi
Oh
and
yeah.
Reflex. Um, who else? I mean, I eventually I connected with people like Skeptical, people like Got Milk.
Hmm.
Um, uh, I remember I played a lot with the other Canadian guys like Snowflake, Blah.
Hmm.
Those guys were we had a lot of games together. Um,
I remember their clan shooting stars.
oh yeah, yeah, and I mean, I could just list off names, right? But this is like in the beginning, right? Yeah, I would probably be Currency, somebody that Army Guns, like you said, somebody that I played with quite early.
Yeah,
We
I remember
had we had
playing
we
some
played
games with
we had fun
him,
together.
and he made a couple of montages too. I remember, and you guys were like I guess one of the first ones to use a capture card for the montages because I know a lot of us are still with the camcorder or stacking our cameras on top of like a stack of PS2 games. So
Yeah, that's funny.
well,
No, I got the idea from Call of Duty montages, right? So there were people that would make these kinds of things for other games, right? So
mhm.
Call of Duty and what's that other game? It's like there's like another PC first person shooter that was
SOCOM.
very popular at the time. No, that's a third person.
Okay.
Uh, I don't know. One of those other games. They would make these montages. Some of them they would call them like frag movies. That was like another term that was used.
Huh.
So I used to
Never.
I
I don't
used
remember that.
you never yeah, it was like a I don't know if it's still done now. I'm not like super in tune with gaming culture, but at the time those were really cool. It'd be like these pro players, right? Like literal pros, not like fake pros like on Deadlocked, like people that are paid for this, right?
Right.
And they would go and play tournaments and things, and they would record those, and they kind of make these montages out of that, and it would be amazing, like 3D animation and all this crazy stuff. So everything that I was doing with Deadlock was kind of like I learned that it was possible from watching those things.
That's awesome. So that had some influence on all of that. I know we'll be touching some on your editing down the line, but yeah, it sounds like Call of Duty and the frag montages had a little bit of an influence on how you edited your videos, etc.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Okay. So we're still on the topic of friends. So you mentioned army guns and whatnot. Who were your top friends in the game, like for the whole period, in your opinion, or for what you think?
Oh man, that's tough. That's tough. I mean, there's a lot of people that that I remember. He's one of those people. Um, I remember playing with. There was just different people at different times. I mean, some of them are here in the room here. Badger's obviously somebody I played with later. Like, um, around the time I was gonna, I left and stopped playing the game.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you know, uh, I used to play, I used to play a lot with people like
Reflex
Freakazoid.
or Freakazoid, yeah.
Like Freakazoid he was a cool guy. Reflex, Kwabi. I really liked Flag Capper. That was a cool guy. He was fun to play with.
Oh
The
yeah.
Canadian guys. Um, you know, there was during that time period where I was playing with Ratchet, there was another guy like XZ Death,
Oh yeah.
right? Um, you know, yeah, there were a lot. We would, hang out and play really late.
Oh yeah, I remember those
So,
nights. And I don't know if you recognize the name, but yeah, Jid619 here. I know him and the Pack played a lot back in the day.
oh no way, that's cool.
Yeah, yeah. I think
Yeah,
actually he was in
I'm
one of
terrible
your.
with names.
Yeah, it's hard. Yeah, he he just commented
Chosen
chosen.
Few. Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, that was a cool clan. I remember I would look at those and those clans. There was Chosen Few. There was what is it? Bad Men. I remember I would look
yep,
at those two and I'd be
yes,
like, wow, those are really cool, because
yeah.
that was
Those
kind of before my time on the game.
Yeah, those are the top two clans, at least I think in the like the OG clans, like 05, 06 period,
Yeah.
even 07.
I spent a good amount of time with 25 to life. Like we would, like
Yep.
we would both kind of like no life the game together at one point.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I really liked Lucci was a cool guy.
Yes.
What is it? Hopes and Fears. Hopes and
Yes.
Fears was a cool guy. He was fun to play with. Um, you know, uh, yeah, there's I don't know. There's a lot of people. I gotta go back and watch some of my stuff because it's a long time ago.
Yeah,
But yeah,
refresh
those
your
are some
mind.
names. Yeah, those are some names.
Cool. Well, hopping around a little bit. So, what's the longest game you've ever played that you can recall?
Oh God, I have no idea. I don't know.
Probably like a Valix Tin Cap or a Dark Cathedral Conquest or something.
Maybe I didn't have a lot of patience at that time. Like I would just leave stuff.
I
Like if
remember.
it went too long, I'd just be like, I'm out.
Yeah,
You know?
I know. I remember watching a 1v1 one time. I mean, of course, most of the 1v1s I watched with you in the lobby, you beat people. But there was one I know you weren't doing that great. I think it was against Prince Corn, and I remember I think he was
Oh, that
yeah
guy.
up on you
Yeah.
5 points, and you just quit. And
Did I? Oh
and
God.
and the lobby, you're just like you're so laggy, dude. Like I can't.
Oh yeah, yeah. I had a problem. I hated lag. Oh my God. I remember that now because
Yep.
there would be. I mean, I don't know if that's true. Like maybe he was just destroying me. I don't know. I would be one of those people that would, you make up excuses in your mind, right?
Right. Right.
I was not immune to that at all.
Oh
And
yeah.
so maybe, I'm just saying maybe he was actually just destroying me. It's possible.
Hmm.
Um, but I was just, yeah, I remember I would really hate lagging. Like that was, I mean, I think everybody hates lagging. It's not like unique to me or something, but I really hated it.
Right.
It was
Right.
very annoying. Because like you'd hit, yeah, especially with sniping, like you have to. Oh, Badger's saying movement lag and lag shots are mostly fixed now. That's cool. Good for you.
Yeah,
It's
yeah. The
amazing.
I haven't played in a second, but I know when I have, it's like I encounter them like once every 10, 20 games maybe.
Oh, wow,
Yeah.
that's awesome. Very cool. I'm actually, it's probably like a side conversation, but I'm actually very curious as to how you fixed it. So tell me later.
Yeah. I
Um,
think Dan will probably have
yeah,
that answered. Connor might, and that's Badger. He might have that answer.
yeah, yeah. That's cool. So yeah, to answer your question about longest game and me quitting things, yeah, I used to do that. I didn't have that much patience. I kind of I didn't like I wasn't into like the things that would typically take a long time. Like glitching and
hmm
um, those lobbies where people just hang out. I mean, that's fine. Like I don't hate it or something. It's just the kind of person I was at the time. I kind of just wanted to just play,
Right.
and get it over quickly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you felt like you got something out of that for sure.
Yeah, just personality type, I guess.
Yeah. Well, moving on to the next thing, what are some of the most memorable events in game that you can recall?
Memorable events in game. I mean, I really remember like making montages. Like whenever I would play for recording montages.
hmm
Those are really cool, and I got really into like the idea of um playing against good players and getting nice looking clips on them.
Yes.
You know, I mean that's like every single montage maker. That's kind of what you want to do, right? You're like, oh, I want to get a good clip on that guy, right?
Yes. Yes.
Uh, so I would have a lot of time playing doing that. I remember I had a good time playing against like whenever it was like those really good players that were good like before I was came back. I would like to play with them for that reason. I remember, I really appreciated people coming back and teaching me things. Like I really liked it when, God Milk came back and he taught me some things about sniping. That was fun. There are things that are memorable in a bad way, like
Yeah.
I hate I hated when so you might not know this or maybe you do. You probably do, but I taught Rayman like how to play
I
and
didn't know you taught him how to
I
play, but I know you guys had like been going back and forth sometimes with
yeah,
games.
like yeah, like I basically, I mean, I'm not gonna say I was his only teacher or anything like that, or even that I'm not gonna claim credit for anything, but yeah, I remember teaching him some things, and at that time when he started getting good, I was going to university, and that was kind of like when I stopped playing, right? It
hmm
was around that time. Just things got busy in life, and I remember coming back and he's just destroying me. Like I mean destroying. I mean like I was doing okay, but this was somebody that you teach how to play, and then now they're beating you. It's horrible. It's a
Yep.
horrible feeling.
Yep.
Yeah, so I really remember that.
Yeah, I know. I think it was in 2010 he got really good, and I know a lot of people honestly don't remember that too well. But I think they maybe some of them overlooked it because of his personality and whatnot. But we won't get too
Oh
much into
yeah, yeah,
that. But yeah, I mean he
for
was
sure,
really
for
good
sure.
at a certain point, for sure.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, yeah, the whole personality stuff and getting along with other people is different. Is a different thing, but in terms of playing the game, he was a good player. And
Absolutely.
you know, and he was he's better than me, and he beat me in one-on-ones, and I hated that. Just,
Yeah. I know, yeah,
yeah.
of anyone I've ever 1v1'd, he's beat me the worst. I think he upped me just in like a 10-minute 1v1 by like 12 or 13 kills. I mean, it was pretty bad. So,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, he was a good player.
Absolutely. Let's see. Oh yeah, and then what Agent Moose mentioned right there. Yeah, we have 1K 1v1 kills now. So it's like there's actually been a few people, I think 4 or 5, who have actually 1v1'd each other for 1,000 kills, and they last anywhere from 4to 6 hours. It's crazy.
Oh, that's what that means?
Yes.
Wow, no, I would never do that. Oh my god. No,
Yeah, yeah. I don't think you can
that's
sign
too
me up for that
long.
either. Maybe like in 2010 or 11 or something, but not now.
Yeah, I used to play the 10 minutes. That was it, right? It's like you just play up to 10 minutes, that's it.
Right.
Um, yeah.
Okay. So let's see. Hopping around again. So what made BattleBot your favorite skin?
Genuinely, I'm not sure.
Just kind of
I
you like
think
played with it and stuck with it.
you know what? I think it was like the thinnest character. So I picked it for two reasons. I think number one is like visually you can see a little bit more.
Yep,
Like
driller.
I mean it doesn't make a huge difference, but like if your character is a little bit smaller, then it's blocking less of what's in front of you.
Mm-hmm.
And then I thought it would affect the hitbox. Like initially,
Oh yeah,
I was like, oh, maybe if it's a smaller character, I'll get hit less.
I
I'm
see.
pretty sure that's totally untrue. I'm sure like Connor can confirm, but that's not true. But I think that's why, if I remember. And then it just became habit. Like is like Green Battle Bot Republic. That's what that guy does, right?
Right.
So
Yeah, it's your
I kind
brand,
of
your
stuck.
T-shirt.
Yeah, exactly. So even when I would play on like alt accounts that I didn't want people to know it was me, then I would just I'd pick like Jack or something,
Mm-hmm.
some completely different skin, and pick a different color. Not talk, have my mic out,
Yeah.
and then
Yeah, go undercover. Yeah, oh my gosh, like I know. Yeah, I made
yeah.
so many alts for that reason. I know, like, because we were both big YouTubers for DL in that time, and yeah, it's like sometimes I just didn't want people to know it was me because I felt like I'd be a little more targeted, and I
Oh
of course
yeah,
didn't
yeah,
want
yeah.
that. And then I know you mentioned earlier, what was it? Oh, it was like recording, for clips and whatnot, and getting them on good people. I just know, like, I never wanted to talk about when I was recording because I just knew hey guys, I'm recording this game. Everyone's going to be on me because they don't want to look bad in a clip or whatever. So
Oh
I just
yeah, yeah.
remember all that. It's bringing those memories back.
That's so interesting. Yeah, I don't think I would ever tell anybody that I was doing that. I would just do it, and it would be like, a montage would show up at some point.
It's like, oh my god, you recorded that game. I know. There was one time I think. Oh yeah, I recorded a 1v1 with you. I remember. I was like, okay, maybe I can beat Republican in 1v1 or something. So I never recorded the 1v1, and I remember you were so upset with me because like
Was I?
yeah, it's like I lost by 2. I mean, it was a close game, but I remember you were just like, why didn't you tell me?
That's hilarious. Wow.
Yeah,
I
I
don't
only
remember that
remember
at
that
all, but
because I was going back through our Facebook group, and I came across that, and I thought it was hilarious.
oh, that's wild. You got to link me that later.
Yeah, I'll
That's so
find
funny.
that. I see also that you remember Tony Lenta? He's in the lobby right now.
Oh, hey Tony, how you doing? I don't, he can't talk, right? He can
He
just chat.
can't. Yeah, he's just in the audience, but he might drop you a
Okay.
message here.
Oh, okay. That's cool. Yeah.
Okay. So hopping over to clans. What clans were you in?
Nothing really meaningful. Um, I don't. I don't think any of my clans were like like the real I think time when clans meant something. Um, competitively, I mean, like I know you had your glitching clan for like forever.
Mm-hmm.
But just competitively, that was really in that like Bad Men and
Chosen
what was the
few.
other clan? Chosen Few. That that was really I think at that point in time, maybe like a year before I started playing.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's when that mattered. Like by the time I started playing, clans were just I don't know, they weren't really meaningful. But they were. I do them to change my little clan tag,
Mm-hmm.
and then at some point, I think me and the Canadian guys, like Blah and Skills and Snowflake, we kind of made this little Canadian clan. Uh, it was with the clan tag CDN, right?
I remember that. Yeah, I
And,
just don't know what it was called.
maybe it's the Canadians or I can't remember, but it was like something to do with Canada or whatever. Um, we were in there for a while. It was just we didn't really do anything with these clans. Like you'd imagine that okay, with clans you're gonna play against each other and it's gonna be like a tournament or whatever. But we never really did that a lot. I played in public lobbies,
Yeah.
mostly with friends, and it wasn't really not really very deep.
Yeah, I know. I'm trying to remember some,
Exactly.
at least
Yeah.
during like the time. I know when you started, getting really noticed. I know there was like custom made. I know that there was like Equilibrium. There were a few clans over
Mm.
there that did some battles. I know like Tony had his own clan too. I think Tony wasn't it like Players or something? I can't remember. Yeah, yeah. And man, Tony, I feel so bad because I was going through some footage. There was this one clan war we actually had with Chosen Few, where I was recording it, and it was me, you, and some maybe your brother, and I was focused on kills and not winning, and we lost that game, and I remember I felt so bad about that. Oh man, I'm
Wait, when
sure
was this?
this was like 2009, I think.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Interesting.
I can link the video, and it might bring back some memories, but yeah,
So this is much later.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay. That's
Um,
cool.
but let's see. I remember. I think I have like a really tiny memory of like uh, a clan. It was called like S2K or something. Do you remember that clan?
Vaguely.
Okay. The
Shoot to
reason I
kill,
bring it
I
up
guess.
is
Yeah.
because I think I remember you saying that you, Chivas Joker, and Gunner were in that clan.
Yeah, it's possible. Oh, geez, Joker. Yeah, that guy's cool.
Yeah,
I remember we
he
played
was
a
like,
lot of games together. And Gunner too. That's so true. Yeah, he was another guy I used to play a lot with.
yeah,
I gotta go
yeah.
back and watch some stuff.
Absolutely, yeah. I haven't talked to
Um,
Gunner in years, but I know, yeah, Chivas. I met him, and he was the first deal person I met in real life. I met him when I was in LA. Really fun, cool guy, nice. We had just a kind of like a day out, like me and you did. But yeah,
that's
he was
awesome.
he was kind of like the guy that everyone's like, yeah, I'm cool with this guy.
Yeah, he was a really cool guy.
Yeah,
Um, I think I just wasn't really like I don't really remember that too well because I think for me it wasn't really very meaningful, the whole clan thing.
hmm
Um, different people got into it, but for me I don't know. I just wasn't super into it for some reason.
I got you. And yeah, like Tony mentioned, the clan scene was hard to kind of get into then. So I think everyone kind of feels that to a level.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah. It was a little bit before my time when that was really like happening.
Right. Well, moving on. So, who are your main competitive rivals?
That's a good question. I mean, it depends on when, right?
Yeah.
Because I was around for a while and there were different people that would show up and be good at different points in time. Um so I mean, in the beginning, like I remember I would measure myself up against like Meta Ratchet and Omega 3 because those were the people that I knew.
hmm
And later on, I remember I used to play with Skeptical. I think he would play a bunch. Remember Freakazoid was good. There were always Blah and Snowflake were always really good. Badger was good. Um, I don't think there was anybody I was particularly like, you know, for a long time I wasn't really aiming for anybody in particular.
hmm
Um, except Got Milk. I
Okay.
was like, I gotta be better. I gotta be better than that guy in sniping. Because for me, like the whole cycling thing was like I don't actually think I was very very good at cycling. I was like it was all just to set up the sniper.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I played. Like I would use the B6 to stun somebody for a snipe. I would use the what was it called? That like
Magma
shotgun
cannon.
weapon, magma cannon. Yeah, I would use that thing for, just to stun somebody. Again, it's like all just to set up the snipe. I used to play a lot of one-on-one sniping. I used to play sniper only games. So that was kind of the thing. And I guess I felt pretty comfortable that I was really good at it and there wasn't a lot of competition in sniping for a long time. And then later on, as I kind of started to stop playing, then other people, like I remember skills got really good.
Mm-hmm.
Rayman got really good. Um, Kind of near the end there.
Yeah,
But there
I
were
know.
always people that would like, when it came to just holistically using the cycling weapons, there were people that were like very good. I mean, the pack was really really good.
Mm-hmm.
Kiku, you guys remember
Yeah, and
Kiku?
yeah, I've heard that. Yeah, over the years, people have said Kiku was probably the best player at times too. And like, I never really got to play with him, so I never got to really experience, his gaming style and whatnot.
Yeah, he was really good. He was like, he would kind of use the whole thing, the whole like it wasn't like a player like me is sort of I would use the other weapons to just, you know, for the sniper.
Mm-hmm.
People like him, people like the pack, those guys would use them all holistically. Like, they would you'd be dying from like a beast like three perfectly placed B6s, you know what I mean? Like that
Mm-hmm.
was kind of what it was like to play those guys. And I never really I don't think holistically like that. Like I would really stack up against those guys. I mean maybe like how good I am at the sniper or I was at the sniper would sort of balance it out, but yeah, there were people that were, in my head they were better.
Mm-hmm.
Just in terms of using everything together.
Right. I know. Yeah, Reflex was also pretty good at one point. He still is like on the revival server. He's definitely. I mean, he beat skills,
Yeah.
believe it or not, in a 1v1 by one kill.
Oh, good for him. Yeah, I know he was always really good. Like I'm not trying to disrespect anybody or anything. I'm
Yeah.
just sort of the way that I thought about it back then was just I would look at who's like, at that next level, and that's
Mm-hmm.
kind of who I would compare myself against.
Yeah.
And I always viewed people like Reflex and those guys that kind of came up with me
Yeah.
at the same time. I would be like, we're on the same level, right? Like because we
Yep.
would always be playing together, right? So I could kind of judge myself a little bit better against them. But then there's people that I would only play with sometimes, um, or they would come on and it'd be a bunch of like these sort of former really really good players, and we'd all play together. That would be sort of my measuring stick.
Yeah. I
That's
gotcha.
why I mentioned mostly those names.
Yeah. Well, cool. Yeah. I got milk. Yeah, and then Rayman maybe later, and then the pack, and
Yeah.
yeah, with cycling. Okay. Um. So, what were your proudest accomplishments from your time playing?
Um, I had a lot of fun beating people one on one, if I'm honest. Right, like those would be those would be some of the things that I would remember at the time,
Mm-hmm.
because in my head that made me better than that person.
Mm-hmm.
Right, that's not actually how it works in, kind of quote unquote in real life, because playing in a probably the best indication of how good somebody is how much they win in um in like a team game,
Mm-hmm.
right? But I would have a lot of fun with winning in the one on one context. So when I would beat different players, right? Like, I remember actually beating Meta Ratchet. That was a big deal, right? For
Oh, I
me
bet.
personally,
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't mean anything in the grand scheme of things, but I was happy at the time. So yeah, like beat it. I beat Milk, got Milk a couple times, which again is like, the guy was coming back to a game that he hadn't played in a long time, and he's playing other games. Like I remember he was big on Halo.
Mm-hmm. I remember.
Um, and he would come back. But yeah, I had fun with it, right? So I would have fun with those kinds of things. Is That's usually what I remember, or it would be like getting a lot of kills in a game. So we'd play like Capture the Flag or King of the Hill. And if I got like a ridiculous amount of kills, I don't know, whatever, like over 50 or whatever. I don't remember exactly how many. Is a lot, but I would have fun with that.
Absolutely. Yeah, I totally feel you with some 1v1 wins. Trying to think really, let's see. Who did I beat that? I think maybe I did beat Reflex one time, and I think when he was, getting really good, and I was on an alt. And I just remember telling him who
Oh
I
yeah.
was, and just like, I'm so proud of that. And then I know like this is past your time, but I played a lot more in the revival in the early days, and we had our first 1v1 tournament. And I ultimately didn't win the 1v1 tournament, but Skills has continued to be pretty much the best player for the last decade or so. And the way the 1v1 tournament was structured, I beat him actually in it by a decent bit for the first go round, and I was so proud of that. I remember, but
Oh wow, that's
yeah,
crazy.
yeah.
That sounds like it'd be a lot of fun. The tournament, that's amazing.
Yeah, there was a big old cash prize pool too, and I've got the video up on my channel. So if you ever want, if you're bored, and you ever want to listen to something or watch some DL gameplay, it's there.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks. Yeah, I might do that.
Well, speaking of people, which players do you want to reconnect with, if any?
Hmm. I mean, pretty much everybody that I played with. I'm kind of curious to know what people are up to, right? Like, I think I mentioned this sort of in our chat, but the things that I'm really interested in now are like, what are people doing in life? Like, what kind of person, like for example, you guys remember Who Cares? You remember that
Yes,
guy?
the great mystery
This
of
guy's
who
a total
cares.
total mystery. Who's that guy? What does he do? What kind of person is he? Like, I'm curious about that. And some people we connected with on in the Facebook group and obviously here in the Discord. Um, Tony's saying he's the number one DL player all time for sure. Yeah, he had so many games played on the original server and so many losses. I think he had the most losses.
Yes, by far, wasn't even
And
close.
and that guy, like, I remember we would just be like, this guy does not care, right? It's in his name. Who cares? He would just play and do whatever, and he didn't seem to have any kind of like didn't care about his stats. He
Right.
just play, and that's pretty impressive.
Yeah,
So yeah, I mean everybody really. It's kind of interesting to see what people are up to, what they do, kind of people they are in life,
absolutely. And glad you
beyond
mentioned
the gaming.
he's one of nature's mysteries.
100%. Yeah. I remember
Uh,
I tried to make friends with him. It didn't work. Like I would play one on
yeah,
one with him. I'd be like, "What kind of guy are you?" I'd be like, "Hello, how are you?" And whatever. And he's like, just not answering at all.
yeah,
He's like,
yeah.
"When are
That
we
was my
starting the
experience
game?"
too.
Yeah.
It's
He's just a
like
private
what?
guy.
Yeah, it's like he kind of seems like the kid in class. He doesn't want to talk to anyone. It's like hey, what's going on, dude? And he won't reply to you. So
He's just like, "Listen, I'm here for the game. I'm not here for you."
yep,
He's like, he's very serious, I guess.
yeah.
Yeah, but hey, people are people. It is what it is. Everybody's got their own kind of thing going on.
Right. Yeah, he's an interesting mystery for sure. But yeah, touching
Yeah.
on just wondering what people have been doing outside of life, and I know we met up 5 years ago in Toronto and talked a bit. But I know we follow each other on social media occasionally. But yeah, I
Hmm.
feel you've been kind of like how DL related to my, I guess, what my occupation is and what I did later in life. I'm dropping a photo of us in Toronto. Just had it available right there. And do you
Oh
still have
yeah.
Mango, the cat, in the back?
Oh yeah. No, I actually gave Mango to a friend
Oh man,
because I mean he's all right. He's doing good. It's a good friend of mine.
good
I actually
deal.
work with him now. But um yeah, like after we had I think it was just before we had our third kid. It was an interesting story actually. So what happened was me, my wife, and my kids were traveling. It was a long trip. It was like 2 months, almost a 2 month trip. We went to a bunch of different places. And so we had Mango, and somebody needed to take care of him. And it's kind of a lot to ask somebody to sort of house sit for like 2 months.
Oh my gosh,
So
yeah.
so what we ended up doing was one of my friends had just gotten married, and I had been at his like I guess a little get together at his house. Met his wife, and and she was kind of a dog person. That was one of the things she said. And Mango is kind of he's like a very friendly cat.
Hmm.
He even plays fetch, right? So like we would throw straws and he'd kind of go get them. And so well, long story short, we ended up getting him and his wife to kind of watch Mango. And the whole time I felt a little bit guilty because when you have kids, you start paying attention to your kids way more than your pets
Hmm.
usually. And and Mango with kids, he's a little suspicious, right? Because they like to pull his fur, and some pets are really friendly with kids, and Mango was a little bit like, I don't know about you guys, you
Yep.
little people, you know. And so my friend and his wife, they really liked Mango, and they kind of jokingly asked me like, "Hey, can we keep him?" And I was like, maybe." And yeah, long story short, we ended up letting him keep Mango.
Yeah, well, it's bittersweet, I'm sure, but it sounds like it was, the best thing for everyone in that situation.
Yeah, I hope so. I hope so. Yeah.
Well, touching back on what you'd asked, so I was the glitch guy back in the day. I still am the glitch guy. Whenever Connor here, Badger drops a new map, I'll usually get on it within a couple of days and glitch the heck out of it and post a video. But
Yeah.
yeah, so in 2017, well, I graduated college in 2016, CIS degree. It's half business and half computer science, and I landed a job as a software
Mm.
test engineer. And I've always just liked to break things, not for the glee of breaking them, but like to find solutions on how to resolve them. And just it's I find the process fun too, just to find flaws in things. But yeah, like I said, not to point them out, but more so to correct them. And so I'm still a software test engineer to this day. I do some development, but my main job, 80%, is testing, and I actually love it. That's how. And DL is really what got me
Wow.
into that because I love finding bugs on DL. So
That's so fitting.
I know.
I don't think you could have picked a better job.
Yeah, yeah,
That's amazing, man. Nice to hear.
yeah. And what are you up to nowadays? I know you you were in some development for a bit, weren't you? With like a website.
Yeah, so I studied computer engineering in school, and I worked for a bit at after so at my school they did this like internship year kind of between your third and your fourth year in university. So I ended up working at this startup um, called Wattpad. It's kind of like a social media startup, and it was a lot of fun. Like they grew actually a lot while I was there, and I ended up coming back after I graduated as a web developer there, and I basically caught the startup bug, right? So I worked there for another year, and then I left, started a company, and basically never looked back. So now actually that's what I do for work. I um, I run a small, moderately successful software business.
That is awesome. And you've always come across to me as like, and you hold that leadership role, that entrepreneurial spirit. And I'm not surprised at all that you did something like that. That's awesome, dude.
Thanks, man. I appreciate you saying that.
Yeah.
Yeah, just answering Agent Moose. Wattpad is the website people can upload their stories. Yes, it is. Yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah. It's kind of it's a website that people yeah, upload stories about different things. It's honestly mostly popular for fan fiction. So that's what a lot of the people on there, it's like, teenage girls like writing fan fiction.
Yeah.
That's kind of the main thing. But it was a fun thing because when I was there, the user base went from something like 2 million to 40 million, and they were maybe 15 employees when I joined to over 100 by the time I left. So
That's awesome.
it was a lot like being in a movie.
Yeah, yeah.
And entrepreneurial experience personally has not been that exciting comparatively, but in terms of growth and stuff. But it fueled that interest for me for sure.
That's awesome, man. And yeah, if anyone in chat wants to drop out, drop what they or how DL maybe steered you in a career direction or just influenced you in your life today. Uh, Henny Republic was curious about that, so if you guys want to type that up, feel free to. You don't have to. But in the meantime, we'll go ahead and move along. So, and we kind of touched on this a little
Yeah.
bit. I think I know what your answer is already, but what did you dislike the most about DL Online? And can I say, was it the lag shots?
Sorry, can you repeat the question?
Let's see. What did you dislike
You're
the
saying
most
why
about
I
DL
didn't?
Online?
Oh, my experience. Yeah, yeah, it was probably lag. I didn't really like. So just as a personality trait, like when things are unfair, that really, that's like it's one of my I don't know, triggers. Let's say
Yeah,
that's a word we use, right? It just, yeah, I don't like it, and lagging. Especially with sniping, I think that's what it is. Is that because I focus so much on the snipe, it's supposed to be 2 shots to kill, right?
yeah,
But then if you do 4 or 5, whatever, you're like, what's happening, right?
yeah.
It's like I'm shooting, pebbles or something. Uh, yeah, so that was I don't like. Yeah, I wasn't not a fan of that.
Yeah, I know. Do you remember when wrench lag came onto the scene on OGDL?
Yeah, yeah, I do.
Yeah, I remember
Not
a lot of people who played, previously were not big fans of it. I know at least at the time, you were definitely one of them. I remember.
Yeah, I mean, it's like if you're playing, especially something like Capture the Flag,
Hmm.
it's crazy, right? Like you can't. It's like you snipe people. How it doesn't matter how many times you hit them. Doesn't they just don't die.
Yeah.
So not fun. Yeah.
No, I totally understand. And I was actually going back, through a lot of footage. I watched your videos and some of mine around that time period. And I found this audio from a little Skype call. This was an example of you not being too happy with someone's lag back in the day.
Oh no.
So everybody's so
Okay.
laggy in this game. Look at him, just teleporting everywhere. He doesn't charge when he teleports.
Yeah, I know.
And he's gonna health run now. He's gonna health run.
Wow.
Because he's a noob. All of you people suck.
Wow. That's so cringe. I hate hearing myself. Oh man.
No, but no, we
That's
all
so
experienced
funny.
that on some level. I mean,
That's
like,
crazy that you pulled that up, man.
yeah,
Amazing.
yeah.
Wow.
I have a few things, set aside for the conversation if it comes to it. Badger's like
Yeah,
add insult
wow.
to injury.
You knew exactly what I was gonna say. You pulled up your references. That's hilarious. Good. Yeah, yeah, exactly. Exactly, Badger. That's the worst.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
I know Badger definitely hated the lag too. We heard a lot about that as well back in the day.
Yeah, actually I remember Badger with near the end of it, he would turn on cheats. Like if he was like this person's lagging too much, right? He's like, all right, turn these things on. And then suddenly, there's a lock on guy playing. Yeah.
Yeah, I know that we actually I shared some footage with Badger a while back. It was some. You remember my slave Jerome?
Yeah, yeah. He's got kids too.
He does. He's got three, I think now. Like you. So, but
Oh, good.
um,
That's nice.
yeah, it's
My
a
bad, Badger. If I'm remembering wrong, like I might be wrong. We've already established my memory's not that great.
yeah, but let's see. Oh, where was I gonna go with that? I totally lost my thought on that. Let's see.
Yeah, you were bringing up Jerome Slave. That guy he was a nice guy. I remember playing with him. He was a real like he really encouraged me to kind of finish montages and things like that. He would always
Yeah,
be you know
And I think
asking
you
me
did the
when they're
same for
coming.
him too. I remember you actually, I think, made a short little montage called Jerome's Conviction to try and get him to finish a video one time.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I do remember that. Yeah, I have good memories of that guy. He's a nice
Yes.
guy.
But what I was going to bring up, I remember now. So Jerome had recorded a game. I know it was me, him. I think Blind Falcon were going against some people, and Badger was on the other team. And I can't remember what it was, but maybe like we weren't sitting, or there was something was obviously wrong because Connor was going all the way across the map to get the flag and just take it back and cap it, and he wouldn't like let us get ahead. I don't know what it was, but do you remember that, Connor? That clip? I think I popped it up like a year ago. I'll find it. And I'll send it. I'll drop it in the chat eventually. But it was pretty good. Let's see. All right. So and then 25 to life dropped in the chat. So yeah,
Is that the real guy?
that's the real guy.
Oh, hey man, how you doing?
Let's see. I think he just DM'd me. Yes to your DM 25. I can honestly, before we wrap up the podcast, if you're still here, I can pop you in if you want to talk to him for a bit. But we'll just proceed with the podcast too. And
Yeah.
this is I think he was a UA player before, but his name was Blown. His Dan and has the reel right there. He's a good DL player too. He's
Oh,
newer
good.
though.
Hi, Dan.
All right, so we're gonna go ahead and move on. So, what was your favorite map back in the day?
Probably Mirax's prison.
Absolutely, that's most people's go-to. Is it for the 1v1s and stuff?
Yeah, it was just a good time. I mean, I liked it for one-on-ones. It's my favorite one-on-one map for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And then I like Sarathos. You know, Sarathos was a lot of fun for capture the flag, I think specifically, and King of the Hill. It's good too. Valix was a mixed bag because it had those like choke points, you know, at the end points of the map. So like if somebody has a V6 or something, or like a V2 B6 or a V2 magma cannon, you know, it could make your life really hard.
Oh yeah, like on that swing shot by that island at Red Base.
Yeah, exactly. And then what else? The Tempest was good. I had a lot of fun. I have good memories of King of the Hill at Tempest.
Mm-hmm. Oh man, remember the cheap shots there? There was a hill on top of one of those towers, and you just could just shoot someone as they come up the jump pad.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's why I know. Like, I think most people on the revival don't play that map for that reason. But it was still. I mean, there were still some really great games there for sure.
Yeah. And then what yeah, Primary Access all around. It's a good map.
Yes, and then Jid said Catacrom, and yeah, Catacrom was probably my second favorite 1v1 map for sure.
Catacrom. Was that the one with like the cave thing?
Yeah, it had the.
It kind of had this like
and,
little cave where it's like a ramp that goes up.
That's it.
Kind of thing. Yeah, that's a good map too. Yeah, I like that one. Okay. I did not like Dark Cathedral. That had too many swing shots, too many sight lines. It's too much going on there.
Yeah, I know. So if you're playing a Conquest there, especially back in the day, you're going to be there. Well, home mode's Conquest. You'll be there for a couple hours probably.
Yeah. That map. Yeah, you could really, if you had a sniper, like a V2 sniper, and you were on either side of the map, honestly. That middle area, because there's not a lot of options, right? There's not a lot of options for like where people can go.
Right.
So I remember, I'd post up in that there's like a little jump pad, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you could be like at the top of that, and you're kind of playing the jump pad basically. You just get kills all day, right?
Yeah.
With the sniper, So it's fun. Like if you have it, it's not fun if the other team has it.
Exactly. Yeah, it can go south real quick. Um, so what was your favorite game mode?
Probably deathmatch. I I was really, it's kind of like, I think in retrospect, something that was maybe negative if I think of myself in terms of being a good player,
Mm-hmm.
because I was mostly focused on kills.
Yeah.
I was kind of secondarily concerned with winning.
Mm-hmm.
And so, um, I really liked sniper games. I really liked sniper deathmatch, cycle deathmatch. I would kind of play the other games, and those were fun too. But I always in my head, I was like, the real deal is the kills.
Mm-hmm.
So
I had that
yeah,
mentality for a long time too because you just get such a dopamine rush if you get like multi kills with a sniper or like a cool jump snipe.
yeah,
And I had that mentality
exactly.
for the longest time. But yeah, I adjusted because obviously I don't want to let my team down. But yeah, I feel that. So
Yeah.
um, so what was your favorite year of Deadlocked?
Mm, good question. I'm not gonna remember exactly what year,
Mm-hmm.
but somewhere in the middle, probably, where there were still like quite a lot of people playing. I remember, it used to be there were like three, four different um lobbies of like really solid players
Mm-hmm.
going. And I think just the kind of variety of players coming in, we had, people are coming up like, myself and Reflex and, you know, that group of people. And then
Mm-hmm.
you also had, some of the older players that were, I mean, I don't know if they're actually older than me, but they were playing the game for longer. Got Milk was playing a bunch at some point. Those guys, Kiku and Advanced, and there was a
Oh
bunch of
yeah.
people in that kind of group, and we would all kind of play together.
I think you're probably
Um,
thinking of 2009 then, because that's like in the later half of that year. That's when like there's just a lot of people on, and like from different eras of DL, like the people who were good or getting good at the time, and then the people like the OG pros like got Milk in the pack and stuff.
I think that's when I had the most fun.
Yeah.
I think when it kind of came later and people started thinking I was really good, um, it's like a weird pressure that comes with that.
Mm-hmm.
And, it's like everybody's trying to get you. This is how it feels like. I don't know if that's actually true, but that's kind of how it felt.
I think there's some truth to
And,
that for sure.
and I didn't have as much fun with that because it's like, when you're kind of coming up, then, there's people kind of like better than you and there's people worse than you. And you sort of you have something to work towards,
Yeah, you don't
and
have
there's
that
not that
pressure on
much
you.
pressure, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, and
exactly.
then at some point, those really good players stop playing, and then it's just me, and and then it's like I don't really gain anything. Like if I win in a game, it's like expected, and then
Mm-hmm.
if I lose, it's like wow, I beat that guy.
I know. It's like, wow, I must
So
be better than that guy now.
yeah, so it kind of stops being as fun.
Yeah, no, I totally
So
understand that.
somewhere in the middle, somewhere in the middle there. Yeah.
I get it. So let's see. And this is, I don't expect you to know this, but it's just a random question. So, how many hours do you think you put into DL altogether? Like, playing it and then like, editing your
Oh my
montages and
god.
stuff. That you do like hours, days.
I don't want to know. I don't want to know, man.
Yeah.
I'm not looking up that information. I hope it's gone.
Oh yeah, yeah. I know. I'm really the only main game I play. I play DL a little bit occasionally, but not much. But I play old school RuneScape. Probably like once or
No
twice a
way. I
week.
used to play RuneScape too.
Oh,
That was
the
a good game.
original one back in the day.
Back in the day, yeah, I used
Oh
to play
heck yeah.
RuneScape.
There's a lot of memories there. But I play old school about once or twice a week. But unfortunately, on the game, it will if you want to know, it will tell you how long you've played. And I've played on and off for like 12 years, and it says that I've put a total of, I think, 230 days into that game. It's terrible.
230 days.
Yeah.
That's a lot. That's a lot. Yeah. That's exactly the kind of number I wouldn't want to hear for myself.
And to Connor, that's over 12 years.
That's funny, man.
Let's see. Yeah, I know.
Yeah, too much, man. I used to play a lot. Like it was hours every day for years, right? So, and then montages on top of that, editing them. So it's quite a lot of work, actually. Just looking back, right? You put quite a lot of work into that.
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah, too much time. Too much time, man.
It is. Yeah, I know. You give me specific details back in the day, and I found some messages about like how long you worked on certain things in the montages, and it does take a lot. And I've made dozens of montages over the years too, so I totally understand. We put a lot of work into them, especially.
Yeah, too much work, but it was a good time. It was
Absolutely.
a good time.
So what is your first memory of me?
I remember seeing you and Agent Moose in like lobbies, right? Like I remember you were there.
Mm-hmm.
Hold on. There's some people in here.
Yeah, Stealthfish just joined, and Reflex hopped in for a second. I don't know where he went, but
that's cool. Hey, man, this is a guy I played a lot with.
I remember, Stealthfish. You guys played a lot towards the end there. I remember.
Yeah, for sure. It's a good time.
It was.
So, I think my first memory of you would probably just be seeing your glitch games.
Yeah.
Because you'd kind of be in there doing that stuff for hours, right? So like when you could log in, you could see people like games in progress.
Yeah.
And I would always be looking for cycle games or sniper games, and you would never be doing that. You'd always be doing some kind of like something with all weapons on, and you're in there for hours.
Yeah. That was.
So I think that's really my first memory, is just like wondering what's happening in there. And then I think the games would be titled, right? Like you'd be like, oh, glitch game or something.
Yeah.
So yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, there was a lot of crazy, and then like Tony said, like Cold Viper, me and him were best DL friends back in the day, and we would be glitching a lot.
Yes.
Too.
Yeah. Does he still play Cold Viper?
He plays on and off, to my knowledge. He's still in the Discord, but he still plays. Probably these guys would know better. Maybe like once every month or two or so. But yeah, I'm not at all surprised. Yeah, because most people did, and still associate me as the glitch guy. It's like I would being, cooking something up or trying to find something, and usually have some people in the lobby with me. But I'd post post videos on what was found later on. But
I remember thinking when you started getting good, I was like, I remember thinking to myself, I was like, he's finally doing this, right? Like it was because you never really spent much time playing the actual game, like in terms of what you're supposed to, like competitively.
Yeah.
And so when you started doing that, I'm like, uh-oh. Because you clearly had the dedication to like, do these, in my view, like completely esoteric like things and find these cool little things. And so, you decided to turn your attention to actually playing, and you got really good.
Yeah.
So I remember thinking like, why are you doing this now? Like, as opposed, because you were playing, I think, before me.
Let's see. I think maybe I started maybe a little before you. It was May of 2007. So I think you started in 2007 too, but maybe a little later, if I recall.
Yeah, I think it was after. I think I played it a little bit, maybe not a lot after, but
yeah, I played a little bit of cycling in my big glitch days, but yeah, it's like, and I'm not even gonna lie, I think honestly when you started dropping montages, that like got my interest because I love posting videos, and I'm like, I want to also make montages. Uh, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, I used to see your glitch videos as well. I think you would post. Am I right in my timeline that you would post glitch videos and stuff around when I was posting montages?
oh yeah, all the time. Had dozens and dozens of those, hundreds probably
Yeah,
even.
I
Uh,
remember that. I remember seeing those because there weren't a lot of people making videos for Deadlocked, so for sure I came across those.
yeah, I know. At one point, we were probably the two biggest content creators of the game. But yeah, it's like yeah. Let's see. My first memory of you. This is a throwback. Uh,
Okay.
so I know just one day a video popped up on my feed, and it said Ratchet Deadlocked Noob Ownage, and it came out
Oh
and
my God.
it
That
came out
was
in
like the first one I did, right? That
yeah,
was
yeah. It came out in June of 2008. I remember thinking at the time, like, wow, this dude's really good. Like, I've never seen sniper footage like this. Because yeah, you got like you were, of course, owning, and I think like the last kill you got, like someone was. It was a Dark Cathedral game, and someone had like was charging in the air towards you. You shot them off, and they just fell in the water. I had never seen anything
so
like
funny,
that. I was just
man.
like, oh my god, like this guy is so good. And I think it was from that point on, really, I started kind of like I had the desire to make videos with gameplay, and then eventually montages when you started like getting really good with the editing for them.
Right. Yeah, I wasn't very good back then, I don't think. Like comparatively speaking.
Are you referring to editing?
No, no, I mean definitely editing. I was terrible. I think that video was actually not on a capture card.
No, it was not. It was a
That was
camcord. So
It's just a cam, yeah. But then like also playing wise, like I got into the montage stuff like pretty early before I was, you know, it wasn't my peak, let's say, in terms of being able to play the game.
right. Let's see. So yeah, turning to montages. Have you heard any songs in the last decade that made you think, if I still played DL, I'd make a montage to this?
Mm, yeah. I mean it's kind of like I would just make montages to whatever music I was listening to for the most part.
Same here.
Um and it was a while back, but I really liked the Imagine Dragons, their first album, or not their first, but the kind of album they got big off of, which was Night Visions, I think.
Yes, yes.
And there are a couple songs on there that I probably like if I was making montages now, or not now, but like at that time, then I probably would have made some. So that was like 20. I guess that was like 2012
Mm-hmm.
around there. I probably would have made montages to that stuff.
That makes sense. Yeah, I mean, yeah, Imagine Dragons. Yeah, they have some great music, and yeah, I agree. The first album, I guess you call it, big Tage material right there for sure. Um,
Yeah, and there's like a particular kind of music that works well, I think, with montages.
yes,
I remember I tried to, I made this like what I thought was experimental, right? It's like this montage called Spring Air.
yes, yes, yes.
And I guess it was like I was a little tired of doing the same kind of
Breaking Benjamin, Red.
template, right? Yeah, you take a break, you take like this sort of alt metal like rock, song, and then put some clip. I was a little bored,
Hmm.
so I tried it, and people they weren't really digging it,
Right.
so I stopped that, right? And I think over time my music taste kind of uh you know sort of shifted away from that sort of rock stuff,
Yeah.
hard rock stuff,
Well.
and so I would probably like if I were to do it now, I'd kind of have to like look for something,
Hmm.
but definitely those Imagine Dragons stuff would that'd be my choice, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I agree. I've actually debated like once or twice in the past. What's that song by them? It's like Whatever It Takes. Do you know what I'm referring to?
Um, I know they made a song like relatively recently for the launch of League of Legends or something. Is
Hmm.
that what you're thinking of?
It's not that one. This one's yeah, yeah, Blown or Dan in the chat. Fake Dan. it is whatever it takes. It's like I
Whatever
felt
it takes. Okay.
that montage creativity flowing
Hmm.
from it. So, but yeah, I think me and you
Interesting. When
operate
did
in the
this?
same way in terms of
Ah,
that creativity.
2017. I don't think I've listened to this. Interesting. Cool.
Um,
Yeah, yeah. You kind of come across stuff, and then you're like, "Wow, this would sound really. This would be really good if I were, killing people."
right? Yeah.
um, to this song, right? It's kind of weird when you say it like that, but
Yes.
yeah, I used to, kind of operate like that. You kind of like
Yeah.
sort of build a list of stuff that you think would be cool.
Absolutely. And speaking of the music, I know during that time period, like I had heard maybe like one or two songs by Breaking Benjamin around that time, but I remember you got me. I mean, just your montages really got me into them, and I still like them to this day. And not as much as I did back then, but I
Mm.
know also you probably recall this, but like you know you, I thought your montages were so good. Like you would use music from those montages for some of my montages. Do you remember that?
Yeah, vaguely.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, that's
yeah. So
cool. I
yeah,
mean,
I mean, you
I
definitely
don't
influenced me
really have
that
a
way.
don't really have a problem with that. That's fine.
Nah, good. Yeah, I know a lot of people did, unfortunately. So I stopped like copying people's music. I remember.
Yeah, I
Uh,
mean, it's kind of, it's better creatively, but if you don't, because
true.
you stand out more if you don't, but I mean, I would take songs from other montages. They just wouldn't be like Deadlocked. They'd be
Deadlocked,
like
right?
some
Like Call of
Call of
Duty.
Duty, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I'd find something cool and be like, oh, I'm gonna do that. And nobody, nobody that watched my stuff was really paying attention to the other stuff. So it was kind of fine.
All right. Well, we'll go ahead and move on to the next thing. So, what is your favorite Deadlock montage that you've created in terms of editing and effects?
In terms of editing and effects,
Yeah.
um, so okay, I have like two favorites.
Okay.
So okay, actually no. I mean usually the way that I worked, I would try to always make the next one that I made better than the last one.
Yeah. Raise the bar.
And yeah, and I couldn't always control that in terms of what clips made it into the montage,
Mm-hmm.
but I would always try to raise the bar in terms of editing. Like I would try to bring in something new that I saw, or do something different. I'd have like different ideas for things to do. Um, I actually really like my memories
That's so damn good.
montage, which is the last one that I did really. It was kind of my like goodbye to the game,
Yeah.
and I think I think Badger helped me with that. He helped me getting some shots. And I really liked there was the music in it at the beginning was kind of like, it was good. Um, and then I really liked so there was this effect that I did where like it's not very complicated, but it would basically be like I have a still shot of like a game playing. Like I did that glitch, where you go invisible. Like I remember you'd like open up your PlayStation, right?
Yes.
While
Yes.
it's playing, and for some reason that would like remove your your
Your
heads up
HUD.
display.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it's so weird, but yeah, I did that. And then I made some recordings basically of I think people were playing King of the Hill,
Mm-hmm. I was in
and
that.
oh, you were in there too. That's
Yeah.
awesome. Okay, good. And it was just this idea of like people are playing and then it fades away, right? So it's kind of like, oh, things are dying. I mean, things did not die. Obviously, people continue to play
Right.
even now. That's why we're having this conversation. But it was that way, the way I looked at it at the time, and so I had a lot of fun with that effect. I felt like it was really well put together. So I think editing wise, that one would be my favorite, just in terms of I think everything coming together and being put together well. There are other things like I put a lot of effort into. There's some other for example, Legacy,
Yes.
which
Yes.
was I think it was like the team thing I did, team
Yeah. The community
montage,
montage you did.
community montage. Um, I honestly like I didn't like it's fine, but I didn't feel like it fit together very well. I wasn't like super happy with that, even though like I did put a lot of work into, editing and trying to make it good and everything, but um sometimes like the amount of work you put into something doesn't necessarily make it the best.
Right.
And so like cohesively as a thing, as a as a full um experience, I would probably say Memories. And then I also really like Bulletproof.
Oh yeah.
I think that one just it wasn't as like slick, I would say, in terms of the editing, but it's got a good bunch of clips, and you know, um, it was fun to work on. I think a lot of people liked it as well.
Yeah, it's like with Bulletproof, I feel like it was kind of the perfect length for a two-song montage. And then, yeah, it's like the people in that. I mean, it was, it was what we talked about, like the people from like Got Milk, The Pack, Jid in here, um, and then like the newer players. It was just a great reflection of just the combined experience of DL into one montage. And I thought you did like phenomenal with that one. But I agree that yeah, Memories probably overall wins the best edited montage of the ones you did for sure. And then yeah, Legacy is not far behind. And I can see why like you're conflicted on Legacy because you're experimenting with other people's clips too, and so I can see why that might change your opinion of that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm glad it exists and I'm happy with it, but it's just if I'm comparing it, right,
Hmm.
then there are things I can kind of nitpick about it.
Absolutely. And actually, let me drop this real quick. I was going back through, a lot of things recently, and I came across this comment you made. It was on someone's channel, YouTube channel, a long time ago, and it involves Legacy actually. I'm dropping it right there. It looks like at one point you were gonna plan to make Legacy two parts. Do you remember that?
Wow, what? No, I don't remember this at all. Here's my plan for the harmony. Wow, I don't remember this at all. That's crazy. Good job
Yeah,
finding this.
that was on the. I looked at the Wayback Machine a few weeks ago, and that was. I don't know if it was on your channel or someone else's channel, but I saw that. I'm like, I'm gonna save this just for the podcast, just in case. Yeah, yeah, that is
Nice.
an old
No.
YouTube style comment right there, Asian Moose.
Yeah, that's wild. Oh my goodness. Alternate legacy alternate, technological and fast-paced way. Crazy. Yeah, I don't remember this. I don't know. I mean, I
I,
remember I had a lot of like I really did want to make something great with Legacy. Like I think it would have been so cool to get just a bunch of really really good players, recording in the highest quality,
mhm.
and putting all that together. And I think it's just tough. Like it requires kind of like when you're making something yourself, it ends up being there's a lot of coordination, right, that you have to
Yep.
do. And it's you kind of end up having it's like you start having to do like project management,
Hmm.
um and a lot of people did send me stuff, and no, it was great, and I really appreciated that, but I think it would have been like theoretically there could have been something better, maybe a wider selection of people, and recorded over more time, a little bit more, making sure everybody's got the right settings and stuff. But it was, yeah, good time.
Yeah, I totally understand that. Well, and I'm just going to tell you, I think, I mean, like, I think actually when I mentioned that we're going to be doing a podcast together, there was a player, Speedy. He is the brother of, if you remember, Inferno Zombie and Liberty. And he said that,
Yeah, that's familiar.
yeah, yeah, he said that, Legacy was his all-time favorite montage. So, and there are a lot of people who just
Oh,
love
good.
that. So,
Okay,
yeah,
that's nice.
yeah, man,
I'm
it's
glad. Glad they people like that. It's good.
absolutely. So let's see. What is your favorite DL montage you made in terms of the gameplay?
Yeah, I think we kind of talked about that, but Bulletproof
Yeah,
would be my
Bulletproof.
my pick. Yeah.
Yeah, I know another one you made that I thought was really good was the Equilibrium montage was great too, in terms of gameplay.
Nice. Yeah. No, that's I mean, those were kind of done around the same time. Both Equilibrium and Bulletproof, like, were sort of in that same era, I guess.
Yeah, they were kind of like brother sister montages in ways.
Yeah, yeah, totally. They came like right after each other, really. So it makes sense.
Yeah.
They're both kind of around that time period. I think they're both from that time period we talked about earlier, like my favorite time period where I was having a lot of fun.
Yeah.
It was kind of that at that point.
Cool. So, what is your favorite DL montage or montages made by other people that you can recall?
Man, this is gonna sound bad, but I don't really watch other people's stuff.
Oof.
It's I mean, let me put it like this. I would watch whatever um people would make. And I would watch, like, for example, your stuff because I want to support you and what you're doing.
Hmm.
Um, but for some reason, I just wasn't like that into it. It's weird, right? Like, I think I've heard like I don't mean to be rude, It's I just for some reason I didn't follow it like that. I mean, I remember I would watch, like, there was somebody who made something for Deadlocked, like, before I started making stuff. Um, I think his name's Infinite Dragon.
Oh yeah, I actually just had a podcast with them too. Yeah.
Oh, you did? Nice. That's
Yeah, it
cool.
was about
Yeah, so I
6 months ago, but it's on my YouTube channel if you want to watch it.
okay. Yeah, I have to go to your YouTube channel.
Yeah, you gotta watch my
Um,
stuff, man.
I do watch it. I have seen your stuff and I've watched it, and they are good. Whenever send me them or tag me or whatever. I'll look at it. It's just kind of, so at the time. Here's the thing. I used to watch, like, Call of Duty stuff, right? I
Uh huh.
used to watch the Call of Duty stuff. I used to watch the Halo stuff because I guess in my head that was kind of like that was the stuff that was better than mine.
Hmm.
And I would watch these things kind of for entertainment, but also like inspiration, right?
Yeah.
For what I was doing. Um, so for whatever reason, that kind of ended up being like what I watched for fun, you know. And so other people would put out stuff, but I do like your stuff. It was good.
I appreciate that. Yeah,
Yeah.
I was just messing with you. Um, okay, let's see. And we kind of touched on this earlier. Where'd you get the ideas and inspiration for your montages? And I know you mentioned like Call of Duty and Halo. Was there anything else you can recall?
Yeah, so I remember that other game that I was mentioning. It's Counter-Strike. So there's some crazy Counter-Strike
Uh,
videos out there. And I never did this and I never got into it, but, like, dude, people go crazy. They do 3D modeling. They'll take, like, the whole map and like, animate stuff, like, with 3D modeling software. The furthest I got was really using After Effects.
mhm.
Um, but people go crazy and they make really, really impressive stuff. And like the quality of the footage they have, like the kills and all the different shots, and
That's insane.
they'll be doing like pro, like it'll be like a pro game, right? So this is like professionals playing for money against each other, and they got, like, the craziest clips. And then they put that together with, like, 3D modeling and everything. They basically, I mean, they put a lot of effort into it. And so, yeah, just watching those would be kind of what got me into it. And there were also things like that were more kind of on the level of stuff we would do. Like, especially when you would look at, so this was all like PC stuff. So the PC gamers, they were just on a different level. And then you would have, like, people that were playing Call of Duty on consoles, and those things would be much closer to what we would do. Um, it'd be like music and some effects and stuff, and so I would watch some of those as well. And yeah, really, that's kind of where it would come from. And then there'd be a little bit of inspiration from whether it was the music I was listening to or certain random ideas that I have in my head about things. Like obviously, for example, Bulletproof kind of came from a place of like, I feel like I'm really good at this game, so I'm gonna kind of hint imply that I'm like really good, right?
Mm-hmm.
With the name.
Uh,
And then
did that idea come first, or was it the song? Because I think the song also was called Bulletproof.
yeah, it was. But I mean, it's like resonating, right? So I'm like, I would think, oh, I can use this song and I can name, because I could have, named it something else,
Right,
right?
right.
Um, like with all, I think that's probably the only one that's named after the song.
Yeah,
Um,
I was gonna say like I think Equilibrium was that named after a clan you were in?
yeah, maybe.
Okay,
I don't
and then
remember.
I think there was one I never really understood. I didn't know where you got it from, but it's called Revival. How'd you come up with that? Do you remember?
I probably had it like in my head that, Deadlocked is gonna go through some kind of revival or something,
Ah,
right?
okay.
Something like that, right? Like people are gonna come back to it or something.
I gotcha.
Yeah. And then, memories is obviously like kind of I'm leaving bye
Mm-hmm.
type of vibe.
Yeah. Well, you hit it. So it was solid. Um,
Yeah, dude. Thanks, man.
yeah. So, still on the topic of montages, were there any montages you started working on or planned on doing, but you never got around to finishing?
Mm, not that I can remember.
Okay.
I think I did what I was trying to do. I mean, I think maybe because like if you think about it, like I ended on memories,
Mm-hmm.
which is a good place to end. In between there, yeah, I don't think so. I mean,
Okay.
I think I like doing another like community montage probably would have been something that would have been like that would have been cool,
Mm-hmm.
you know, because I could have taken the things that I learned from Legacy and kind of applied them again. I think the reason I didn't do it was just because it was a challenge to coordinate everything,
Mm-hmm.
and I think honestly that montage was probably like my one of my least favorites to work on, even though like I liked the outcome of it,
Mm-hmm.
just because it had this additional layer of like coordinating everything. But
Right.
if there were to be something else, like maybe somebody else can do, like hint hint, you know, uh, I think that's cool, right? Like it's always cool to see everybody together in something.
Absolutely. And yeah, uh, I did a big old community montage a few years ago for when the Revival server came out, and I'm pretty happy with it. But yeah, I totally remember like the
Nice.
constraints and just like or just like the obstacles of having to work with multiple people and collaborate. And I know there was a few people who weren't sending their clips to me on time, and I would extend deadlines and still wasn't getting them, and I'd be like, okay, well I got to push forward. I'm sorry, but yeah, I totally
You know
get
what else
that.
is kind of, you know what else is kind of awkward about it?
What's that?
Is like, you'll have some people that like they just send you really great stuff, and then other people send you stuff that's not as great, and then you kind of have to make this decision of like, well, I want to include this person, but you know, their clips are not that good,
Right.
right? Right?
Yep.
Comparatively, I'm saying like obviously everybody's clips are nice, but comparatively, you're like, wow, if this other person has 10 that are like amazing, and then this person has they got like one that can match up.
Yeah, it complicates things for sure.
It makes things complicated. Yeah, exactly.
Because yeah, it's like you want everyone to feel included.
Yeah,
So yeah,
yeah,
yeah, I totally understand. I felt that when I was making mine too. So
yeah.
let's see. All right, so turn a little bit to gameplay. What's the best sniper shot you can recall making? And this is outside of montages too, if you could describe it.
um I mean, I've got a type that I like. I don't know if I can remember like actually there are a couple. There's a couple. Like so the type that I like is when you would like going off a jump pad and then hitting somebody really far away.
Oh yeah.
Those are, like I always had a lot of fun hitting those. Those are the ones where you hit it and you're like, oh my god, you start yelling,
Yeah, yeah.
right? So I remember hitting a couple of those probably in what's the one with the can't remember all the levels names, but the one that like mining
Mine
something
facility.
mining. Yeah, I think because I had a lot of jump pads, right?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that I hit, one that was pretty far over there, and then I think I hit a cross map on Sarathos.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, those ones are like, you can't even see the person, and you shoot, and like, the kill pops up, and you're
Yeah.
like, huh, what?
Yes. I know.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of that, I know like Badger here. I know there was a little montage preview you made a long time ago where he was on the Antimala Shar, one of the jump pads, and describe your exact scenario. It was a shot, really far away, and you couldn't even see his name, and it was Rayman, and he got the shot off. But it was a really good shot.
Who hit it?
Badger here.
Oh, Badger hit it on Rayman. Oh,
Yeah,
nice. Yeah, those are the greatest, man. You just feel so good. You're
yeah.
like, I'm amazing.
Yeah, I know. I got one of those on Lucci. I remember. It's on an old montage of mine where I'm at the back Meraxis jump pad and I hit him like way across at blue base, and I couldn't believe I landed that jump pad snipe. It was really good.
Nice. Yeah.
Let's see. I know. Before we hop off on this, let's see. Do you remember like the quote unquote DL lag jump?
Um, was that the
Or,
one that you would use to like get inside of the Meraxis prison from the outside?
Uh, kind of. You would. It's like There's another name called triangle jumping. It's like you hold triangle where you charge booting, you let go, and you can double jump.
Yeah.
Well, I know I've landed a few shots doing that, especially on the revival server, in just really bizarre scenarios, and it's blown me away. So,
You're saying you hit somebody who's doing that, or
oh,
you're doing that and you hit somebody?
I was doing that and I hit someone.
How does that even work? That's
It
crazy.
feels random almost. I can drop a clip here and eventually and just show you how it was landed. But
Yeah. That's wow.
yeah,
That's crazy.
it is. And then we've touched a little bit on this too, but who were the top 10 players in DL from 2005 to 2012 when it came to cycling and sniping, in your opinion?
Oh my god. Um, that's so
Not to
specific.
overwhelm you.
I
Yeah.
don't. I don't know. I can just mention some people that like I looked up to, right?
Yeah.
Um, there was the pack, Got Milk. Those guys were really good. Kiko used to destroy us, right?
Mhm.
He was just phenomenal. You know, it's like basically you're making me think of who did I not like to play? Who did I, if I play them, I'm like, oh no, I gotta lock in. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, who else was in that group of people? No, I'm not number one, number two, number three.
True though, Moose.
That's
True.
funny. Who else? I think Skeptical is really good.
Hmm.
He'd be one of those people that I'd play and I'd be like, oh no, he'll lock in. Um, Honestly, by the time I left, like Rayman, Skills, those guys would, I'd like, you gotta like sit up.
Yep. Yep.
Like you gotta sit up out of your like, comfortable position, try to lock in.
That's right.
Um, the Canadian guys like Blah and Snowflake, like if you're playing them, especially in Capture the Flag, like those guys are a menace.
Yeah, I
You
remember,
know, I,
and I know Snowflake was good, and it's still good whenever he played on the revival server with King of the Hill. They could do really well.
yeah, yeah, those guys were like very like if it came to a death match or something, like I mean, they would do well. I'm not gonna, they would do well, but really, when it came to those kind of competitive, objective-based game modes, like they were very, very good.
Absolutely.
I think Advanced was really good at some point.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I don't know. I'm sure I'm forgetting people, but those are
Yeah,
some of
you
the names
named
that come
a,
to mind.
a decent amount of people there, so
Yeah. I don't
um,
know if that's 10, but whatever.
close enough regardless. So who was your favorite teammate back in the day for COD, CTF, and Deathmatch?
Um, what was the first one you listed?
Who was your favorite teammate for both King of the Hill or all of King of the Hill,
Oh, King of
CTF,
the
and
Hill. Yeah.
Deathmatch?
I did like having. I loved having people that played the objective
Mm-hmm.
because I kind of knew that when it comes to, let's say, defending a flag, like I could defend a flag pretty well. I could defend the hill. And so when I would pick teammates or end up with teammates on my team, I wouldn't really want somebody that played like me,
Mm-hmm.
where they're like, kind of trying to get kills and sniping and whatever. Because the thing is, if you combine like two guys that play like me, we're not gonna win because somebody's got to play the objective.
Right.
So I liked playing with the Canadians a lot. Like those guys would really play the objective.
Yeah, no, it's like a flag
And
capper
you know
rushing for the flag. Snowflake
yeah,
is
flag
Call of
capper
Duty.
was yeah, flag capper was good. I mean, there are guys that are really like funny to play with. I mean, Still Fish here. I remember I was like, he's a funny guy, man.
Oh
So
yeah.
it'd be fun to play together just to see what he would say. Um, yeah, I had a lot, I had fun with those guys.
Yeah, I remember you uploaded a 1v1 video with Stealthfish here, and you guys were just lightly roasting each other with the commentary, and I loved it.
Nice.
Let's see. So who were the best competitive teammates back in the day, in your opinion?
What does that mean?
Just like you got like a twos team. So like Got Milk and the Pack. They like to play together a lot. I just didn't know who you thought was your or the most competitive twos back in the day.
Yeah, those guys were really good. I
Hmm.
mean, it's kind of hard to argue. I mean, probably like I remember Kiku used to play with Advanced a lot. I think those two guys would play
Yes.
together.
Yes.
You know, but I don't really. I don't know. I'm not sure.
Yeah. I mean, you gave. I mean, Kuku and Advance. I remember them playing a lot together back in the day, and then yeah, Got Milk and the Pack. They worked really well together as a team. So I was just curious what your thoughts were on that.
Yeah, those guys were really, you know, objective focused, right?
Hmm.
They would have like plays they would run. They
Yes.
like they were playing the game at a level that I never got to in terms of like coordination and things like that.
Oh yeah, and yeah, probably to this day, I'm still not that good at coordinating. TBH, I'm just kind of like uh, gonna try and do everything by myself. But I've gotten
Yeah,
in.
we're like it's like casual players. Those guys were like real, like they were like, all right, we're gonna win and we're gonna plan this out and think about what our roles are and all that.
Right.
As it's impressive stuff. Yeah, probably one
Absolutely.
of those two. I don't know. I'm sure. Here's the thing. I like if Dan like got milk. If he ever listens to this, I'm sure he'll have like lots of opinions that are totally different than mine. I
Hmm.
mean, he's gonna of course list himself and Pac as up there. But he'll have a whole list of people. I didn't really play the game like that to have opinions on that kind of thing.
Gotcha. Yeah, and Tony said I used to play with Ice. He carried me with kills, and my lag carried through with the objective. Oh man.
Yeah, you would want to have a lagger on your team, right? Like it was just it's like an asset
It's a good thing
where
that the Dan in here patched that up for the most part.
you get good, very good.
Um, so what was a mistake you noticed players making back in the day that you think was holding them back from performing better in games?
A mistake people would make
Yeah,
that
most
prevented them
common.
from
Not be laggy enough, says Moose.
not be laggy enough. That's tough, man. I don't know.
Yeah, okay.
I mean,
Yeah.
probably like what the mistake I made, which is you just you focus a little bit too much. You don't pay attention to what game mode you're in.
Yeah.
Right. That's a mistake I made a lot. Is like you're like playing like his deathmatch in every mode.
Right. Yeah, especially with
And
COD, it can just set your team back so bad.
yeah. So I think looking back, that would be something that I'd critique myself for. And I mean, a lot of people that did that. I mean, there's obviously some people that didn't.
Oh
And you
yeah,
want those
just
people
do
on
you
your
remember
team.
like how many people would just sit outside the hill with V2s?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So no, I agree with that. So turning a little bit to a different subject, what is your favorite DL glitch, if you can recall any?
My favorite DL glitch.
Mm-hmm.
I always like those ones where you get on top of stuff.
Yeah.
Or you get like behind walls. I thought those were really cool.
Yeah, I think like
like where you do. I mean, they're so basic, like for you, I'm sure.
Mm-hmm.
But when you would do like a little wrench thing and you somehow end up on top of something.
Yeah.
I always thought those were cool because I like things that you could use in in like real games. Because if you go behind a wall, for example, or if if you have something that involves like a vehicle, then you can't really use that in the game.
Right.
But if if you have like a little glitch, it's like it's not so unfair. It's like a little unfair. Something that somebody else doesn't.
Mm.
Those were fun. Like you could do something and you end up inside of, for example, Mirax's prison from like an entrance people don't expect.
Right.
Those were fun to me.
Oh yeah. I know like there was one, it was from your legacy montage. It was a clip from, I believe, Jerome sent it to you. He was on top of the that Torval magnet wall building, and he got a jump snipe off of it. I remember. I'm not sure if that you can recall that.
But, yes. Yeah. No, I remember that. Yep. Yep. Yeah, that's sick. Exactly. Those are good.
And then Moose here is like, it sounds like you need to go through my videos and find a favorite one.
Yeah, you might be right.
Okay, let's see. So what is your favorite Deadlocked tack or mod?
I think I didn't really like play through the era of where most of the cool stuff happened. I mean, I remember, Connor was starting to bring in some things that were interesting. Close to when I left, like he had some, like lock on and remove the delay from the sniper, things like that. But I mean, the things that those guys have been up to since is wild. I mean, I cannot tell you how impressed I am just from a technical standpoint of replacing the server, right?
Yeah.
That's wild.
It's insane.
Like good job to is it Dan? Whoever did that. Like, I mean, amazing. And then going in through the code and making new maps and new game modes and all that. I mean, that's so impressive.
Yeah, it's insane.
I'm very impressed by that, and I think that's amazing. And so those things that I mean, that's that'll probably be my answer. I saw also that somebody made you guys made like I don't know who I'm talking to, but if they're in this room, then good job. It's amazing. But I saw they basically redid the game in was it Unreal Engine, and then like released that, and it somehow works with the PS2 version of the game. I don't know. That's crazy and amazing. So good job.
Yeah, there's a Unity PC client that is used. These
Unity. Okay.
guys can fill you more on the specific details, but yeah, I feel like every week, Dan here is dropping some new functionality that is kind of like, what the hell? Like, I'd never thought this would come to DL. I mean, it's crazy. He's working on a raids game mode right now, which I just cannot wait to play. He's already made a zombie survival game mode, and it's fantastic and fun. Like, I think there's actually a big, I think this guy had like 64,000 subscribers, but he was playing the DL Zombie Survival mode today and streaming it on Twitch, I believe. But he's just done some phenomenal work, and looking forward to raids. Can't wait for that.
So, okay, I'm gonna sidetrack this for a second to ask Dan a question. So how far are you from just like totally recreating the game? You know what I mean? Like, I feel like at this point, it seems like there's, you guys are making your own game modes. You're making your own, networking stuff. Okay, so Agent Moose is answering the question. They're far. They haven't reversed much of the code itself. Okay, fair enough. But it feels like, I mean, just from the outside, it's really impressive, and it feels like you guys could probably make a lot of the game yourself at this point. Obviously, they would know better. But yeah, cool.
Yeah, Dan's the main developer, but I know Badger and Moose, they all three collaborate to a degree. I know like Badger is the main one who comes out with the most custom maps, and he has the most experience with those. I know Moose contributes some code occasionally at least from what I know, and I know he mainly works on Up Your Arsenal at the moment. But yeah, it's really cool stuff, and we'll see what Dan says about your question.
They have debug symbols from a build from 1 week prior to DL retail. Use that last reference, but there's a lot missing. There's so much complexity as time going works on PS2. This is not super realistic to port. Yeah, okay, that's fair. But I mean, the work is really impressive regardless. So
absolutely
cool that you guys are doing what you're doing.
Yeah, let's see. Okay, so what is something that you wanted to do back in the day related to Deadlocked that you never got the chance to do?
I don't know. I feel like I really had a good time playing the game,
Yeah, and you said you like memories. It was kind of like your goodbye and maybe like a perfect wrap up for you, would you say?
Yeah, I think so. Like, I wanted to be the best at the game. I feel like I got close to that. At the time I felt like I hit it.
Mm-hmm.
And that mattered to me. I felt like I got to that point where at least enough people believed it.
Yeah.
Including me. And I made some videos, had some friends. Yeah, I had a good time. I don't know. I don't think there's really anything left for me to do.
Mm-hmm.
On the game. I don't really have any regrets like that.
Okay.
Or anything I feel like I didn't do.
Yeah, that kind of actually goes into the next question, was like, what made you decide not to really play PS3 DL and the Revival DL? Because I know, if my memory serves me correctly, you got on for like maybe the first week of PS3 DL, and then like I know we were at it during COVID, the height of that. I know you got on for a day, I think. So just curious about that.
It's more has to do with me than with the game, to be honest. Things were just like when I was playing a lot was when I was in high school, and God knows we have so much time in high school, right? There's it's just so much time. There's unlimited time. You're just walking around like doing whatever you want to do whenever you want to do it. And when it came to university, it was the program I was in, computer engineering, it's pretty challenging. Like, I mean, going from high school to university was a big change in terms of how much time I had to spend doing just schoolwork and stuff like that. So I just my overall time spent on gaming went down, and then by the time that the new game came out, this is called Revival, right? The one on PS3.
Yeah,
I
yeah, or we
think
refer to it as the
I
revival.
you refer to it as Revival.
Yeah.
So that there were so number one, I just didn't have that the time to play like that anymore.
Hmm.
And then the other thing was that um so they had changed like a couple things. Like if I remember right, they didn't have the names above the head,
Yes.
and it felt just different enough that I was like, oh man, like I'm
Yeah,
not
a
good
bit
at
of a
this.
turn off.
And for me, I hate losing, right? We kind of went over that. And I don't like being bad. It's tough. It's like maybe a personality flaw or something, but it's kind of tough for me to be bad at something I used to be good at.
Hmm.
And to know that like I really remember what it was like to be good. I'm not that guy anymore,
Hmm.
and I don't have the time to kind of put in the hours to be good again.
Hmm.
Is really challenging for me. So I kind of played. I just played it stuff like Call of Duty or whatever. It's more casual.
Gotcha. No, I,
Yeah.
I I understand that to a degree. And Agent Moose said or asked, did you ever have your own stat sheet account?
Uh, as far as I can remember, I don't think so.
Hmm.
At least not something that I like kind of like maybe the anarchist I might have. I don't really remember. I don't think so.
Okay. And someone else joined the chat here, Nika. That's actually Killer Bane, if you remember. Killer Bane.
Oh, I do remember Killer Bane. Wow, that's a familiar name. How you doing?
Yeah,
That's so cool.
KB
Wow.
has played a little bit of the revival, but not too recently, to my knowledge. Um, let's see. Do you still edit videos to this day?
I don't.
Okay, so that's
I
kind of a
don't.
thing of the past for you.
Yeah.
When
Yeah.
when did that
I
fall
y
off for you?
Around the time I stopped playing Deadlocked, like I kind of continue a little bit. Like if you sort of look at my channel, you'll see that the latest videos are actually it looks like the latest one is a Modern Warfare 3 commentary.
Hmm.
It just wasn't as fun, I'd say, like because once I stopped playing Deadlocked, that's what the people that were subscribed to me are interested in. So if I make stuff for other games, it's not, the interest is not really there like that.
I
And it's also very time consuming. I mean, honestly, I remember I was in my head, I was when I was picking what I wanted to do in university, I was thinking either I go to film school or I go to engineering. And I ended up picking engineering, and that's kind of what I did. Um, so yeah, I kind of stopped doing. I mean, I made a couple of short films here and there, you know. Um, but yeah, I never. I kind of stopped even those around that same time.
Okay. Yeah, KB had actually asked, do you ever show people in real life any of the projects you worked on to show off your editing skills in the past?
Yeah, yeah.
Heck
My
yeah.
wife saw. I've seen my stuff. She's like, "What? This is because like by the time so I got married when I was 23,
Hmm.
and that it was like when did I stop making videos? Probably like 18 or something.
Hmm.
Um, and so it's something I hadn't done for like 5 years or whatever. So I showed her this stuff, and it's interesting because I don't know how it is for all of y'all, but for me for a while, the whole gaming part of my life was like sandboxed in a different corner from the
Yep.
rest of my life.
Yep.
You're sort of like playing your game and doing your montage, and yeah, over there I'm Republic, but out in the real world, it's somebody else. And So it was weird to sort of bridge those and be like, yeah, so here's my stuff. What do you think? So yeah, but my friends did know about it. Um, some of my friends would watch my thing, would watch what I do, and I was never really hiding it or anything. But
Mhm.
sometimes it comes up like in conversations where I'm like, yeah, I used to play this game and I used to make videos for it, and they're like, you used to make videos.
Yeah,
So it's kind of funny like that, but
that's
so yeah,
awesome.
yeah, yeah. Some people have seen what I do in my life. Yeah.
Yeah, I same here. It's like, yeah, it's DL was kind of like sandbox in, its own little corner in my life for a very long time. I did tell some people at my high school at the time, and I showed my videos. I know, like during that time, today it's like even people like with 1 million subscribers, it's kind of like, well, it's not that significant anymore uh, than it was way
Mm.
back then. But I remember like just play, making DL videos. I think like at the time, like in '08 or '09, I hit like 500 subscribers. I remember showing it to some people at my high school. They're like, dude, how do you have so many subscribers for this game?
Yeah, that's so
But
true.
yeah. Uh, well, let's see if I missed anything in chat.
Yeah, Agent Moose is saying we all did it on YouTube before it was cool. We did.
I know. Yeah,
Yeah, we
we,
were
we
on
beat the
there like
crowd. We beat the crowd.
before Twitch and all that stuff. Before like I mean, gaming is like a big thing now.
It is. It's crazy. I mean, like, can you imagine like esports type of deal for DL back in the day? Like right now, that'd be crazy.
Yeah, I feel like it wouldn't happen for DL because even back then DL was pretty niche.
Yeah,
You know, but I mean, it would be fun. That would
absolutely.
have I don't know. Maybe if that happened, I'd be a professional gamer or something.
Yeah, I may have gotten back into that too, or into it.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
so let's see. We touched a little bit on this, and I'm pretty sure I know your answers. But who were the top three 1v1ers that gave you a run for your money back in the day?
1v1. Um, it's always tough doing sniping against Dan Got Milk.
Mhm.
I mean, Rayman at the end there was regularly beating me. Um, I think Skeptical was good.
Mhm.
Uh, what's interesting is a lot of those guys didn't like doing one-on-ones.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there was like it's like one-on-one is one of those things. It's a little bit like specialized. You have to play it a lot to be good
Yeah.
at it because it's a different set of skills.
Right.
So you'd find there were people that were particularly good at one-on-one, and there'd be other people that would be better at team modes.
I totally feel
So I
that.
listed two. I listed three, right? It was like Skeptical, Rayman, Got Milk.
Yeah,
Yeah, let's just say
those
those
three.
those
Yeah.
three.
Okay. So one v one win were you most proud of?
Probably either beating Meta Ratchet. I mean, it's like it became less important to me as time went on, but
Mhm.
like as in terms of how happy I was at the time,
Yeah, you can't
beating
replace
that
it.
guy that yeah, it was like the first person you had in your mind is like that guy's really good. I want to be better than him.
Mhm.
And then beating God Milk was fun as well.
Heck yeah. Yeah, I remember I got a win off on him too, and he was not very happy about that.
Yeah, I mean he's a competitive guy as well, right?
He
So
is.
everybody that's competitive, you hate losing, right? You never want to lose. So it makes
Absolutely.
to this day I hate losing. So it's just that's
Can't
how it is.
disagree with you there.
Yeah.
Uh, so what is the worst beating score wise that you can remember from a 1v1 that was competitive in your opinion?
Oh my god, it's probably Rayman. Probably Rayman. I don't remember any of the numbers,
Mhm.
but just emotionally, I remember the emotions and those would
Yeah.
probably. I don't know if he beat me by a lot or what. I don't think anybody really destroyed me, but maybe it'd be like 15-9 or something or 7 or something.
Yeah.
Just kind of in that range would feel horrible
Yeah.
already, right?
Yeah, by almost a factor of about 50% of a whooping. That would hurt.
Yeah, probably something like that. If I were to, I don't know for sure, but that's kind of like, it's like in my emotional memory.
Yeah, no, I understand. Let's see. Looks like KB's gonna hop out. Okay, he just left. He said hello.
Yeah.
Um,
Cool.
do you remember who you 1v1 last before you got your 8 in deathmatch? And I'm pretty sure, I could be wrong, but I think you're the only one that ever achieved a legit 8 in deathmatch from cycling and sniping.
I don't know. I don't know. I'm not sure.
Okay.
It was so I got it a lot through doing one-on-ones, you
Mm-hmm.
know? Like at that point, I was good enough at one-on-one that like I could pretty reliably win against most people. So, you know, if I just play one-on-one against people, it was basically I was gonna win. So that I remember that I think that was how I got it up over the edge, right?
Yeah.
Was just beating people in one-on-one. I don't remember who it was.
Okay. I was just curious if you did.
No.
I know, and Age of Moose touched on this a little earlier, and you said you stat cheat maybe a little bit with the Anarchist. Did you ever stat cheat at all with Republic, or nah?
I don't think so. Like I remember I most of the time um I didn't look at stat cheating in a good light, like I
Mm-hmm.
would kind of I was pretty into doing things legit. Not everything, like a lot of people looked at, taping, dotting as like that's cheating.
Right.
I did that. Um but stat cheating was not something that I did um very much at all. Like you know, I think I tried it like one. It's also so boring, right? Like
I know
because
Moose will probably disagree with you there.
oh really?
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's a big stat
I didn't
cheater.
find it. I didn't find it really interesting at all. Like maybe me and like Cold Viper or Moose or something did it, But I think I might have like tried it like once or twice or something and kind of been like, no, it's not worth it.
Yeah, not for you.
Yeah, like I don't think I can say that I never, like literally never once in one game, stat cheated. I think
Hmm.
I might have. I don't really remember like on what account, but it can't have been more than like one or two games.
Okay.
And I'm pretty sure the end result was like, this sucks. It's like
Yeah.
too boring.
Yeah, I felt the exact same about that. So that's why I never really had my own stat sheet account and got involved in that. But I know others have different opinions on that. Um, now this is a
Yeah,
fun one.
I definitely didn't have a dedicated like cheating account or stat cheating account.
Yeah. Now this is a fun one. So you got to
Okay.
fess up with this one. Did you ever break a controller from Rage?
Did I ever break a controller? Uh, I, I think I've thrown a controller. I don't know about breaking one.
I've
I don't think I don't think I've broken a controller. I've definitely thrown one. I mean, there've been some moments where you're just so mad, right?
yeah.
It's kind of unhealthy, to be honest.
Yeah.
Like how angry that game could. That was part of, I think, what like some of the logic behind me being like, I shouldn't play this game that much,
Yeah.
especially near the end because it would just be like mostly me getting angry.
Hmm.
I'm like, this isn't good for me. This is
Yeah.
emotionally, this is not good.
Yeah, I totally feel that. And
Uh,
I've thrown my controller, I know, a couple of times, and I did break one. I was sitting
yeah.
on concrete floor, and I can't remember what happened, but obviously I either screwed something up or someone was just destroying me in a cycle game. I just hit my controller really hard on the ground, and it shattered like the whole left side. So
Wild. Yeah. I remember some of my controllers would especially the PS 2 ones. I used to play with the PS1 controller, by the way.
what? Like
Because
on the PS2?
yeah, yeah, because you could, right?
I actually
They
didn't
had
know
the
that.
same, yeah, they had the same plug. And the gray ones, the gray PS1 controllers,
Yeah.
those are really durable. And so if you compare, like the PS2 controllers would break really easily. Like for me, because of cycling, like the way that you would move the stick, I think it was specifically the right stick,
Mm-hmm.
it would get a lot of wear because you're kind of like you're pressing the button on the stick a bunch, and
Interesting.
um,
Okay.
and so yeah, exactly, Badger, the original DualShock, 100%. And those are just like really durable, so I would play with those. And I remember I broke a couple PS2 controllers out of the just the wear and tear of moving the stick around, and so they would kind of like start failing on you, and like or the cap would come off or whatever of the stick. But the PS1 controllers would last like a really long time, so I use those for most of my time playing.
Man, I wish I held my PS1. Like I actually plan on holding on to it, but my dad donated it without asking me one day because I just didn't use it. I had it in storage. But yeah, I didn't
Oh
know
dang.
you could use the PS1 controllers with the PS2. I just never knew that. That's cool.
Yeah, yeah, that's so interesting. Wow, I still got tips. Yeah, yeah, exactly, Agent Moose. Yeah, those PlayStation controllers were really durable.
Let's see. All right, so in 2012, a lot of us, I know, got hacks online when we knew the server was going to go down. I think it kind of got leaked out by a certain someone's brother who is in this chat right now. I was just curious,
Mm.
how did you get online with hacks in 2012? Because you came at the very end, I believe, with them on.
Um, it must have been through the wait. Like I don't remember. I don't remember.
Okay.
Was it? Would we have had the emulator at that time or no?
Yes. But I know, like, I was able to mod my PS2 from Direction. So pretty much, Agent Moose's brother, Death Will Die, told Cold Viper how it was done, and then he told me, and that's how I got online with him. So I didn't know if you had gotten on by the same means or if you had done something totally different. Because I know Flag Capper got on a totally different way, I remember.
Yeah, I can't remember. I
Okay.
have I have some kind of memory of like doing something um with the emulator.
Hmm.
I don't know if I ever really had it on my actual PlayStation.
Okay.
Um I have some sort of vague memory of something to do with the emulator.
That may have been it. Yeah, Flagcapper used Wireshark and packet editing to do this stuff. Okay. Yeah, I didn't know how he did that. I think he
Oh
actually
yeah, that
explained it
sounds
too.
familiar. Yeah, yeah, that does sound familiar. Packet editing. Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe he had the Flagcapper method. I don't know.
Maybe.
Um, so let's see, we're not too far from closing out. We got a few more questions, and then I just wanted to ask if you had any stories or key memories you wanted to tell. But let's just review some of the players. Just any final thoughts. So do you have any final thoughts with army guns you want to share?
Not really. I mean, it's fun to play with them.
And then like elite player. I know we didn't really talk about elite player. I know the chat did because he was one of the first ones who had hacks online, and he would kind of abuse them. Um, yeah, anything about elite player you can think of?
Not really.
Okay. And I know Quabi. We talked a little bit about Quabi. I know Quabi. I haven't seen him on social media in a long time. It's been years, but I know like the last I saw, he was a firefighter. So,
Oh yeah. I hope
mhm.
he's doing well, man.
I do too.
Yeah, based on his social media, it seems like he might have gone through like a bad breakup or something at some
I
point.
remember that. Yeah,
So yeah, I hope he's doing well.
me too.
He was fun to play with.
Oh yeah, dude was hilarious. Um,
Yeah.
And then Reflex. Reflex popped in a few times. I think he was busy with something, but he actually DM'd me and asked if this is going to be on YouTube later. I told him yes. But anything you want to say to Reflex?
I hope he's doing well too. You know, we spent a lot of time together on that game. The people that we were playing together, so
Yeah,
it's always good to hear that people are doing well.
Yeah, I know. I heard that from him. That at least from his perspective, that you and him were like he was your favorite competitive rival, I believe, or you were his favorite competitive rival.
I mean, we did. We had a lot of fun games together for sure. You know, like if I were to think of like people that I played with on a daily, yeah, for sure him, Quabi, you know, Skills. There are people that, Blah, Snowflake, people that I play with more regularly. You know, the reason I listed like other people in terms of my, competitive stuff is just because those were the kind of like people I was aiming for in a way.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, we had a lot of good times together.
Yes, we did too. And then I know we haven't talked about this name, Intent to Harm. Do you remember Intent to Harm?
Oh, that guy was really good. He was
yeah.
really, really good.
I think he was one of the first people to have like a 7 in deathmatch.
No, that guy was. Yeah, I would put him like if you were to ask me that question about like top 10 players, like he was up there for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, and then Sapphire.
That guy was so good. Wow, I forgot that guy completely. I forgot him completely, but he was really, really good.
He was. And then you got Sapphire Metal popped in here for a second. I remember the that song, "Crank That Sapphire Metal," I think is what it was. Do you remember that?
What?
No. I'm gonna have to drop this. I'm gonna have to find it. Does anyone in chat remember this? Maybe Connor? Super One. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Oh, Super One made that. Okay. Yeah. It was based on, what was it, Soldier Boy?
Yeah. Oh, I have a video. One of my oldest videos is Sapphire Metal versus Quabi.
Yes.
That's really interesting.
How about that?
Part 1 and part 2. It's not the first one, but it's 1, 2, 3, 4. It's my 5th video.
Okay.
Is Sapphire Metal versus Quabi. So wow.
And do you let's see, remember AASDF and Deadly?
Yeah, those guys were good. They were good. I think Deadly was a good sniper, if I remember right. I don't think those guys were. I mean, hopefully this is not like insulting anybody, but I don't think those guys were on the same level as Kiku, Intent to Harm, the Pack. Those guys were, those guys were different.
Oh yeah, I remember. I agree. And then,
but they were good. They were really good. Like I remember, I really respected Deadly as a sniper.
Absolutely. Let's see. And then Tyler or Stillfish is in here. You got any little final thoughts for him?
I mean, we played a lot together. I think we would kind of play in those lobbies where I was relaxing. So in a lot of ways, I had more fun in those ones.
Yeah, I'm just thinking. Remember the whole Skype crew? I know Agent Moose and Bad.
Yeah. That's right. That's kind of like closer to the end there. Yeah, when nobody had working mics anymore because they're just all breaking and you can't buy them anymore.
Yeah, that was like, a good time. Skype was the big thing at that time, and I don't know how we all got established on there, but I know we had like our big little group, and it was super chill just to like hop in and play some casual games and not take things too seriously. It was fun.
And I think what was interesting about that is like you can hear people from the other team, where like at the built-in chat you couldn't, right? You would only hear your own team.
That's right.
Yeah, those were good times, man.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's where I pulled that earlier, that audio of you. It was from a Skype session of ours.
Are those recorded?
Well, I recorded like 2 of them throughout like our whole time. Like I thought so. I think at the time I was thinking there was some pretty funny stuff going on, so I started recording.
Oh, that's funny. I'm glad you did, because that's wild, man. Like, how old is that recording that you had?
The one I played with you is 2011, and Connor's right. I pulled a sneaky.
Bro, that's, how long ago is 2011 is
Over 13 years. So
13 years ago. That's
yeah,
like I was
20, right?
20, yeah. Wow. It's a long
Yeah, it's
time.
insane. I can drop those too. You'll remember you'll remember some of these, I'm sure. But actually, I'm gonna drop them to chat just real quick. Let me find them. Um, but while I'm doing that, let's see. Is anyone else? Have you ever like taught Eggsy Death since DL?
I think I played with him a little bit on Call of Duty like many years ago.
Okay.
Other than that, no.
Yeah, it's like I remember he got off for Call of Duty, and I just never heard from him again. Really, he had that YouTube channel and just really kind of disappeared.
Yeah. No, I haven't. I don't know. I haven't I don't know what he's up to.
Okay, I was just curious. I'm dropping those Skype session videos if you ever want to watch them.
Am
Let's see.
I in these?
Yeah, you're in the first one a lot. The second one just a little bit.
Oh boy. That's funny.
Yeah. Let's see. All right. Well, moving on from that, let's see. This kind of goes back to your, editing videos, video creativity. What made you decide to start uploading YouTube videos?
Like God knows. I thought it'd be cool.
Hmm.
I feel like that's why I do a lot of things. It's like this will be fun.
Same thing.
So
Yeah, I got something out
I
of it.
just
I'm
thought it'd be cool
recording.
to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It felt like it'd be fun to do.
Let's.
It's not too deep really.
Yeah, yeah. I same answer for me actually. And I think you touched on this earlier. Do you play any games to this day?
I don't.
Okay.
Life just got busy.
Yep.
You
I mean,
know,
having three
the last
kids
thing
will
I
do that to you.
exactly, yeah, like I play I played Warzone. That was the last thing like during the pandemic.
Okay.
But other than that, nothing
Yeah, I know.
since.
Uh, we're planning to start a family in the near future, and we actually just got our first dog 2 weeks ago. I'm gonna drop a little gif of him right here. Uh, so it's been a little adjustment having him here for sure.
No, it's a cute little guy. Wow.
Yeah, his name's Albie. He's 7 months old. He's a Westie poodle mix, but he's been a handful. I'm just gonna say, and I'm just like, oh gosh, this is what having kids is like, and I know it's nowhere near close. So
Yeah, just wait till you have kids, man. So, it's amazing. Like I would never go back,
yeah,
but yeah, I mean it's very time consuming for sure.
absolutely, and
But
I'm sure like a
your
big
life just
adjustment.
changes, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, like you make your life about the kids instead of about yourself.
right.
That's kind of the shift, and it's really rewarding. It's amazing. It's definitely challenging too, but I think most parents you'll speak to, they wouldn't go back.
Yeah, and there's great payoff eventually in one way or another.
For sure, yeah.
And then I got two more things for you. Do you remember back in the day we had a MySpace group? Do you remember that?
I do remember that. Yep.
Yeah, like, and now this is well, my ex girlfriend at the time, or my girlfriend at the time, she actually we both moved to Facebook. I remember she actually wanted me to delete my MySpace, so I no longer had my MySpace account. I didn't know if you still
Yeah.
had it, if you were like, if that group still existed or anything.
That's a good question. I have no idea. MySpace. I haven't thought about my. I don't even know what my login would be.
Yeah,
It still exists, which is kind of wild.
right. Well,
How do
I
you
was just
even?
curious if you still had, I don't know, had access to that or not.
No, I don't.
Okay.
Yeah, I remember. I remember that. This is really funny. That group is how a bunch of people found out I wasn't white.
Oh
You
my god,
know,
dude.
because
I thought you were white for the
Yeah,
longest time. I remember.
I know, because y'all Americans have no idea that other people can sound like this. Um, and I think honestly it was really enlightening for me because just for some background, like Toronto, the city I grew up in, is really really diverse, right? There's like people from everywhere in the world, so I was really used to seeing people that are from all kinds of places. Um, uh, and I remember I would talk to some people on Deadlock and I'd be like, "Have you ever you ever met a black person? You ever spoken to anybody?" I'd be like, "No." I'm like, "What?" I was really shocked. But I mean, that's just America, right? I mean, there's people that, I mean, you're from Alabama,
Yep.
and it's just different out there. Like, it's not. I'm not hating. It's that's just how it was. And I remember, like, for example, Ratchet. That guy treated me completely differently after he found out. He's like, "Your name's
Oh
Anif,
God.
and you look like this." And he's like, "I thought you were one of I don't know I don't know what his deal is now. I'm just saying that happened at the time.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah. There was a lot of
You know?
racism and just
Yeah, yeah,
on the
yeah.
game. I
And
mean, it's
and
very
like,
open.
yeah, exactly. I don't hold anything personally. It's just it was an interesting experience for me. Um, you know, because I didn't realize, like, at the time. Now I'm more aware of, like, racial dynamics and things like that in different
Right.
parts of the world. But at the time, I was like really surprised. Like, we had what? You didn't. I didn't realize that to other people, like, I sound like white. I had no conception of that being possible or a thing, or that people would, like, because I guess in America there's this whole, like, well, people that are black sound like this and people that are white sound like this and we don't care about anybody else. It was kind of like how it was, how it
Oh
was at
yeah.
the time,
Oh yeah. Yeah.
right?
Very uneducated, and just social. It's a lot. It's improved a lot since then. But yes, that was totally a thing for sure.
Yeah, that's how it was. And it was also in, like, that little post 9/11 era, right? So
Yeah.
it's like, oh, you got a Muslim name too, and and it was wild, dude. It was wild, but
Oh.
it was a good time. It's like I learned some stuff about America for sure.
Oh yeah. Yep. That's Yep. We're very controversial. We'll just say. Um, let's see. The last question I had for you before I wanted to close was, let's see, what is some content you'd like to see added to the revival server that you always wanted on the original game? Just like you can tune into a video and see, like, oh wow, that's really cool, or like any ideas you might have.
I mean, I think somebody already did this, but, like, basically being able to play the UIA maps on Deadlocked.
Yes, sir. It's possible. So
That, like, I think I saw. I think you might have even shared that with me, actually. Those like, video recordings of that.
yeah,
I think it's amazing.
yeah,
That was something, because I liked Up Your Arsenal playing that, and so being able to play that in Deadlocked is a cool idea.
absolutely. Yeah, I know. Like, yeah, Connor and Dan have both actually improved UIA maps that we've ported over by, like, it's like, some of those maps are not made for multiplayer games like on DL or UIA, like the single player ones. So they've modified them a little bit and just made them actually, nice to play on the multiplayer scene. So it's been really
Wow,
really nice. I think if I am remembering correctly, I think we have 40 custom maps that have been created over the last 4 years. It's insane.
crazy. What's everybody's favorite?
Oh, that's yeah, it's debatable. Now my favorite one, design wise, Connor just dropped one called Haunted Hollows, and it's like a spooky themed custom map, and it's phenomenal. He did a great job. Just some things I didn't expect. Um, and then I think playing wise, gameplay wise, yeah, probably what Tony said. There's a new Bakisi Isles from UIA that Dan made actually, and it's great for gameplay. I'll just say I enjoy it, and I think a lot of other people do too.
Yeah, I gotta drop like a little like a montage or something showing all this new stuff. I'd
Yeah,
take a look at that.
yeah. It's like I upload a glitch video for each new map, so I can pop you that playlist if you want to take a look. But yeah, and in the intros of those videos, I show off kind of piece of the level essentially. So I can,
Okay.
yeah, I'll drop that
Yeah.
actually in the
Send me
chat
that.
real quick, just so it's here. Um, but on that note, like, were there any stories or key memories that we didn't go over that you wanted to share before we wrap up?
Man, I mean, the thing is like there's a lot, right?
Yeah.
There's a lot of things. So it makes it hard to think of something specifically. I don't know. Obviously you've asked me a bunch of questions, but is there I don't know, anything that anybody here wants to know?
Let's see. I'll ponder on that, and then yeah, the chat can too, if there's anything you guys want to ask them before we close out. And here's that custom map playlist. Right here, you can get a look at all the maps.
Okay, thank you.
Well, yeah, had the fame.
Oh, that's a
feel.
good question. That's a good question, actually, because that's something I think about sometimes. Because I got to experience like a little bit of what it's like to be famous without really being famous. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's like very, 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 very niche popularity. You know, in this like small community of people that play this one particular video game. It's weird, to be honest. You know, like I remember there would be a lot of people that would, you know, just kind of be fanboying, right? And you know, or they would think I'm so cool, and they have no idea who I am. They don't know what I'm about. They don't know my personal life. They don't know, you know, they've seen some cool videos, and they're like, "This is great," and that's fine. You know, I don't look down or anything at those people. It was just a little bit of a strange experience sometimes, and that was part of why sometimes I'd like to go play on those those alt accounts, because you know it can be a lot, right? When you're going on and people like have all these expectations.
That is
And
100% my experience too, because I'd really well known throughout the community, and sometimes I just wanted some time to myself within games, not to be judged, not to have the expectations hovering over me. But yeah, it's like I also felt like, that little mini celebrity status kind of thing within a niche community.
Yeah.
It's I mean, it's a great feeling. But I know, like, well, anyways, it was a good feeling. It does have its like downsides occasionally, but overall, it was a really nice feeling to experience that.
Yeah, I think I liked that people watched what I was making and that they liked it. You know, I think I wasn't a huge fan of the. I mean, I like that people watch my things, and so I guess yeah, you're right. At the end of the day, it's kind of good and bad at the same time. You know, and it is also like it's an interesting experience because you know it's like you're kind of sort of popular in this niche online world, and then you have your real life where it's a whole different
Yes.
you know, it's a whole different world, right? And like there's absolutely no crossover, right?
Yep.
And so that's kind of also a little strange. But yeah, I mean, it's a good time. Like I got really used to being called a rep, which is
yep,
which is like rep. Weird. Like I really don't have any kind, like now, because it's just been so long. I don't really. It doesn't feel like my name, but At the time, it did. You know, people would be like
Right.
Rep and Republic, and I'm like, yeah, that's me. Yep, that's who I am. You know.
Yeah, I felt that too. Can you just imagine if someone comes up to you today, just randomly in town? It's like, hey, rep. It's like, oh.
I would have no idea what they're talking about. I'd be like, what? What? You know, it would take me a long time to put two and two together.
Yeah, I understand. And then Moose had a
Yeah.
little, you know, fun question. What were the caps and password to your Deadlock accounts?
You know, I don't actually remember.
Yeah, I can't
That's kind
remember
of
mine
crazy
either.
to think about. I don't remember what mine. I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, and that information's lost forever, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but okay, well, I think it's a good point to wrap it up here.
Yeah. Yeah. Thanks for
Uh,
having me.
yeah,
This was
dude.
cool. It was cool reminiscing on everything and talking to everybody here.
Absolutely. I mean, like, I think in terms of top five influential people in the DL's history, you're probably up there, just with your videos.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, like a
Thanks,
lot of
man.
people, you know, I know you're in a totally different space with having children and wanting to do other things in life. I know a lot of people would love if you played again one day. That's all right if you don't, but just know that people are here and they would love to talk to you and play with you again if you ever get the chance. But I appreciate you having the making the time for this. I know we uh, put like about a month of time to prepare and stuff, but with all our lives being busy. But yeah, I'm really glad you're willing to
Wow,
do it.
man. Yeah, I appreciate you putting that time in. Yeah, and I appreciate everything you said too. Thanks everybody. Thank you. All the things you guys are saying. Um, I mean, hey, like if I can get it set up somehow, like on my computer, you know, I wouldn't mind.
Okay, well,
I tried it. I tried it at least once. We'll see what like how much like internal development I've done like as a human being, like
hmm
how long I could play before I leave.
Yeah, but just like for like
It'll be kind of interesting to find out.
yeah, it's like I think we're gonna have a 20th anniversary event next year sometime, so that'd be cool if you just come on for the day or something. I think that'll be in October of next year. So, but yeah, we got the PC client, can set that up pretty easily. Um, so yeah, I
Does it
mean,
work on Mac? Like I don't really, I
I
don't
think
have
it does
a.
actually. Troy, does it? Didn't Dan push a Mac update recently? Yeah, yeah. Okay.
Okay, yeah, I got a pretty beefy MacBook Pro, so
Good deal.
I'll give it a try.
All right, Hanif. Well, I
But
appreciate your time.
y'all you're gonna have to give me like a step by step guide on how to do it.
Yeah, we've got a YouTube guide on it, so we'll throw it your
All
way
right.
sometime.
Okay. Cool.
All
Cool.
right, Hanif. Well, I appreciate you tuning in and taking the time to talk to me and everyone here.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
All right, man. We'll catch you later.
Bye.